Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the Old Bridge Township May 11th, 2021 Council meeting. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence and our prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment to remember those who are protecting our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, and for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. A moment of silence, please. Mr. Paschetti, our prayer.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give us quiet minds and hearts that we may hear thy voice. Help us to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give us strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right. And grant that we have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and with one another. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
This notice is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on June 22nd, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Ms. Brown?
Present.
Mr. DePalma?
Here.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
Here.
Mr. Merwin?
Present.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Paschetti?
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
President Sohor?
Here.
We have 9 present.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting. We're going to start this evening with proclamations. Mayor Henry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Council President. My first proclamation tonight is to recognize Nurses Month of May. Whereas over 4 million registered nurses constitute our nation's largest healthcare profession and are a cornerstone of our patient care. Themes for this year's Nurses Month include self-care, recognition, professional development, and community engagement. Nurses faced unprecedented times during the COVID-19 pandemic, in which they have displayed bravery, dedication, and leadership in caring for our communities and families. Nurses and their families have made many sacrifices to provide quality care to extremely ill patients. Nurses provide empathetic care and healing in our community. Nurses play a vital role in patient care coordination, reducing healthcare costs, and improving patient outcomes. The American population has various and increasing medical needs that nurses must meet in a variety of settings. There will be a greater demand for registered nurses, and our medical technology continues to expand. And due to the growth in the home of our healthcare services, and now therefore I, Owen Henry, Mayor of the Township of Old Bridge, Town Council, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, declare the month of May 2021 to be National Nurses Month in Old Bridge, in honor of all those healthcare heroes in our community and for their bravery and commitment to keeping us safe. The words have been no truer in the last year and a half that we've faced this pandemic with our nurses. We've all seen what they have to go through, so they are deserving of this proclamation. It really should be Nurses' Year for what they've had to face, not just a month. So please keep them and their families in your thoughts and prayers as they continue to fight this pandemic and are prepared for what might be coming next. Our next one is EMS, following the theme. In 1974, President Gerald Ford created National EMS Week to honor our emergency responders who are a vital part of our medical community. According to the National Association of Emergency Medical Technicians, when the week was created, EMS was still a new profession. In the time since, emergency medical services have become an integral part of our medical care. EMS workers are trained to save lives by responding to emergencies 24/7, weekends, holidays, and any type of weather. EMTs have the knowledge and skills to provide medical care at the scene of these emergencies or even on the way to the hospital. EMS is firmly established as our essential public function and a vital component of our medical care continuum. EMS practitioners care for their patients' medical needs and show care and compassion for their patients at their most difficult moments. EMS Week brings together communities and medical personnel to honor the dedication of those who provide the day-to-day life-saving services of medicine's frontline. EMS Week is also an opportunity to publicize these accomplishments. And therefore, I, Owen Henry, Mayor of the Township of Old Bridge, Town Council, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, declare the week of May 16th through May 22nd, 2021, to be National EMS Week in Old Bridge and acknowledge the essential services provided to all those by our local EMS volunteers and practitioners. Thank you. Council, at this time, I would ask our emergency EMT coordinator for the Township of Old Bridge to please step forward and accept this proclamation. She has done an outstanding job over the last year and a half, meeting the needs of the residents of Old Bridge, and we owe a tremendous amount of gratitude for her services and the people that she has worked with all year to answer every call when anyone in Old Bridge needed help. Lisa O'Brien, please step forward. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. A true local hero. Thank you, Council. My next proclamation, in keeping with the theme, the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 9th through May 15th, 2021 as National Police Week. In every American community, committed law enforcement officers watch over our neighborhoods and work to make our nation safer and more peaceful place. The members of law enforcement agency of Old Bridge play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Old Bridge. As we observe Police Week, we honor the men and women who serve the cause of justice and pay tribute to those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. By taking an oath to serve and protect their fellow citizens, law enforcement officers answer a vital calling and accept a profound responsibility. These extraordinary Americans work to uphold our laws and serve on our front lines in the fight against crime and terrorism. We owe a lasting debt to those who have sacrificed their lives while serving and protecting our fellow citizens. The fallen officers live in our memory as Americans whose courage and committed have shown true meaning of heroism. We offer our respect and prayers to their loved ones. Now, therefore, I, Owen Henry, Mayor of the Township of Old Bridge, Township Council, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, declare the week of May 9th through May 15th, 2021 to be National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered and dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an inevitable and enduring reputation, preserving the rights and security of all our citizens. Thank you, Council. At this time, I would ask Acting Chief Donald Fritz to please come forward and accept. And as you all know, Council, Old Bridge Township has been named or recognized as the 15th safest community in the country. So it says a lot about our police department. And Donald, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's all I have for now, Council. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank everyone. Okay. All right. Next, we have a presentation, the Senior Center Accreditation presentation. Good evening. How is everyone this evening?
Good.
Good. If you could introduce yourselves for our viewing audience.
First of all, thank you very much to the mayor, the business administrator, and all council for allowing us to be here to do our presentation. My name is Matt Mercurio. I'm the head of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Social Services, and I'll let Anna introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Anna Feltz, and I'm the manager of Silver Linings at Old Bridge, our senior center right here in Old Bridge.
And we're going to go through a presentation right now that's on accreditation. We are a nationally accredited senior center, one of not many. And we're also going to go over how we've adapted to the COVID pandemic and the what we've offered and what we plan on offering in the future. We'll try to keep it short and sweet. This presentation will also be emailed to all you guys so you guys can have all the backup information. And I'll let Anna go.
Thank you. So before we talk a little bit about our accreditation, I thought it was important for you all to know and hear about what we have been doing these last 14 months to continue services and programs at Silver Linings. We did this accreditation in the middle of the pandemic, which was a big task on its own, because 5 years ago there was no pandemic and we did it, and that was a big task. So you can only imagine what it was this year. But I think that it was important for you to discuss what we have done, because what we have done this past year was recognized in our reaccreditation process. It was specifically mentioned by our peer reviewer at the National Council on Aging. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time and just let you guys know what we've been up to. So as you guys can see, the picture up on the screen is actually our logo on our virtual community that we have set up on Facebook. It has been up and running since March 30th. Next. So just a very quick background. Obviously, you all know who we are. We're an activity centers for all seniors here in Old Bridge over the age of 60. Our doors did close March 13, 2020, so that's almost 14 months ago in a couple of days. And while our center doors have been closed physically, our program did not end. We have continued social services via phone and also via Zoom. We've continued transportation services for dialysis appointment and critical medical appointments. And we have also provided assistance to the Meals on Wheels program by the county because it was so inundated by need, especially at the very beginning, but it continues still today, from homebound seniors and seniors that were not homebound before the pandemic but became homebound because of the pandemic. Just to give you an idea, we serve about 90 people in our congregate meal site, and then we have our additional Meals on Wheels participants. So if you think about those 90 people who were now not being able to get those lunches, we were able to assist the county with the assistance of our bus drivers, believe it or not, in delivering meals. And we are still doing that till today. That's how much the need is. We had an initial hope, very optimistic hope of reopening 2 weeks after we closed last year. That seems laughable today, but March 30th, 2020, that came and went, and obviously we did not reopen. So when we realized we were not going to be reopening, which was very close to March 13th, but we were trying to be optimistic, we decided that it was time to look at virtual programming. And this is something that we have never done at our center, and that most senior centers across our county, our state, and the country have never done before. So we kind of sat around and said, okay, what would be the best platform to provide virtual programming? And for us, believe it or not, Facebook was the best place to do it. We had members that were already on Facebook, and we figured, let's try there and see what happens. You know, I am a strong believer in trying everything once, especially with our seniors. We always encourage them to try new things, and this was a new thing we were going to try. So we received permission from administration to start the Facebook page, and we did so over the course of a weekend, which was called the Silver Linings Virtual Community. And by doing that, we actually created this concept that is now nationally known, because I've been asked to speak about this to other centers across the country, called Senior Center Without Walls. So that's how we began our virtual community. Just to quickly go over some of the things we have done in our virtual community, just to give you an idea, we were looking to really address the needs of all of our seniors, and we wanted to stay socially connected. I know we were telling everybody you need to socially distant, but we wanted to stay socially connected. So we provided exercise videos for them that were at first pre-recorded, but then we ended up doing live Zoom video exercise classes, sketch and paint classes. all of this was done via Zoom, and they signed up for the classes, and the supplies were delivered right to their home curbside, very safely, and it was a great way for them to continue participating in these great programs that they enjoyed. Obviously, mental health has been a big topic the last 14 months. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are observing that with our members this month. But we have done what we have called Mindful Mondays with them, where we are posting, whether it's an article, a webinar, something every Monday on our Facebook page relating to mental health. This has proven to be so great that once we do reopen, we are looking to continue that at the center and do a lot more with mental health. We've done Trivia Tuesdays, our big, very fun Zoom bingo. That's one of our most popular programs. Last summer, we did a whole session that I called Summer School Sessions, and every week we had a history lesson on our Facebook page that also was a big hit with our members, and we're going to bring that back this year again. We did a lot of arts and craft projects, and similar to those grab-and-go projects that you saw at different places, but for us, we delivered to our seniors. They got to sign up for plastic canvas, knitting, crocheting, and all the supplies were delivered to them. What was great is our members also stepped up. They volunteered to teach those who did not know how to do it via Zoom. So people learned how to knit via Zoom, people learned how to crochet via Zoom, and people learned how to plastic canvas via Zoom. And actually, we actually did a project, as we do every year for Senior Center Month in September, where this past summer, our seniors made pocket scarves. They made 42 pocket scarves while they were home that we delivered and donated to Reformed Church Home with the help of the mayor. So even though they could not be in the center, they continued this tradition. That was our third year of doing it, and I think that says a lot about our members. We have had themed months and weeks. As you know, this month is Older Americans Month, so that's a big theme month for us. We've done Technology Thursday posts, which is actually how we taught them a lot of things that they didn't know before, how to do Zoom, how to stay safe online, how to watch out for scams. So our Technology Thursday posts continue until today. It's 14 months later, but believe it or not, there's still a new technology post to put up every week. What's great about a lot of our Zoom presentations and programs, they are also available via phone. So for members who did not have the technology to participate, they are still able to play bingo with us. They are still able to participate in presentations and things like that. Some of the resources that we have used, and it's important to note that all of these resources are actually free. So we have really spent very minimal money on keeping our page going, which is great. Thankfully, our grants and the taxonomy of our grants have been adjusted by the state, so we have been able to use our grants for all of our virtual exercise classes, our virtual mental health programs. Our grants have been able to be used for that, so that's been great. So some of the websites that we've used are ncoa.org, Senior Planet, AARP, History.com, and plenty more. This is just a little kind of a snippet. We found that 3 to 4 posts per day kept our members very active on the page. Just so you know, as of today, we have over 300 members on the page. And we reach about, because now Facebook tells you how many people you reach per day, we reach at least 200 per day. So that's great. I just want to give you just a quick little highlight of some of the programs that we have done this past year. We had a Habits of Healthy Aging presentation by our mental health representative from Rutgers Behavioral Health. That was a great presentation that we did. Recently, we started balance exercise classes via Zoom with an occupational therapist. That has been a hit, and we actually are going to be doing in-person classes with her outdoors very soon. We held a nutrition presentation during Heart Health Month. We did a big breast cancer awareness tea where they joined a presentation via Zoom, and we all enjoyed a cup of tea together. And we actually also started a TV show with our OB TV here, and called Civil Strength, Mind and Body. And again, to make sure that we are reaching not just on those on Facebook, we created a TV show that also provided the exercise classes that we offer to members who are not on Facebook. So if you don't have the technology at home, but you had a TV and you have channel 15 or channel 22, you were able to follow along and watch these episodes. That show is still going. We've actually did a show also called Silver Strength Financial Security, where I did a whole presentation on financial scams for our members at home. So this this is a great tool. Next. And just one more little highlight. We did an intergenerational pen pal program with the Recreation Department last year. We partnered up students and seniors, and they did this via email. It's a great way for seniors to learn how to use email, and it was a great way for students to practice their writing. So it was a big hit. We had a really great time with the intergenerational pen pal program. We partnered up with the students at Old Bridge High School who provided us some technology webinars, and he is one of our favorite students at the school, always partners up and does great things with us. So we did a cybersecurity webinar with him. And as you can see, we are doing bingo once a month. And what's great about our bingo is that we've been able to partner up with local restaurants and businesses, and they've donated the prizes for the bingo. So it's a nice way to keep it, local. So these are just some of the highlights for this past year that we wanted to kind of talk about. We've obviously, as I mentioned, expanded our virtual programming, but we've also made a baking cookbook, as you can see to your right, treats and sweets, and all the recipes inside the cookbook were submitted on our Facebook page by seniors. We also created a Silverleaf Plant and Garden Club, and that is a club made up of 14 individuals who meet twice per month and talk about plants and gardening, and we are doing projects with them. They can do the projects right at home. That has been one of our most popular programs we've started. We have become a local, statewide, and nationally recognized center for virtual programming. As I mentioned earlier, our whole concept of a senior center without walls has been duplicated by other centers throughout the country. We've applied and received grant funding for public awareness, information and assistance, and assistive technology. The assistive technology grant was probably one of the biggest thing from this year. It enabled us to purchase iPads and hotspots for our members with no access to technology so that they can connect with us and their friends and participate in virtual programming. The other great thing about these iPads and hotspots is that they were also able to now have their doctor's appointments right at home. They didn't have to worry, I'm not comfortable going to the doctor's office, but I can't do telehealth. I can't do telemedicine. Now, because of these iPads and the hotspots, they're able to do that. So while it's great that they're able to connect with us because now they have these things, it goes so much further than just being able to connect with us on Facebook. Our assistive technology also allowed us to purchase Amazon Alexas, which have been specifically programmed for seniors, have the emergency contacts right in the Alexa. So if something were to happen and they fell, they would just say, Alexa, call mom, or call Matt, and then it would just call that person for them. So this is a great way. Plus, what's great is all of our calendars are programmed into the Alexas, so they could just say, Alexa, what's Silver Lining, up to today? And it will say, oh, there's a paint class at 2 o'clock. So it's a great way for them to also keep connected. And over the past 2.5 months, we've assisted seniors in the community at large with getting vaccine appointments close to home by partnering with Hackensack Meridian Raritan Bay Medical Center, and I know Mr. Shaw had spoken about this, but this is a big thing. Access to the vaccine for those who wanted it was rough at the beginning, especially close to home, and we were able to provide this service for them and assist them because, again, the lack of technology, they were not able to get those appointments on their own, but also transportation. Getting to these places was very difficult, so we were able to assist with that as well. And finally, what brought us all here today is our reaccreditation by the National Institute of Senior Center. That is probably one of our biggest accomplishments of 2021 was reobtaining a reaccreditation status. By receiving accreditation status, it means that our center meets established senior center standards of excellence developed by NISC and the National Council on Aging. We first received accreditation 5 years ago. It was actually the first project I worked on when I first got hired by Old Bridge Township. And here we are 5 years later doing it again. In 2020, we formed a committee to assist us with this accreditation process, and it included Township administration. Mr. Shaw and Mayor Henry were on our committee, which actually, Mayor Henry being our committee was recognized by our peer reviewer as the most involved mayor she has ever seen at a senior center. So I think that was important to note. We also had seniors, our own members were on this committee. We had community partners. We had Reformed Church Home, our friends at DuPont were on our committee, and we also had staff on there. The review took place virtually over a 3-day period in early March of this year, and we received notice at the end of March that we have become reaccredited, and this makes us still the only accredited senior center in Middlesex County, one of 3 in New Jersey, and one of only 132 in the country. And just so to give you perspective, there are over 2,000 senior centers, at least, in the country. So,
And that's both public and private.
all right, yeah. So that's a lot. So we wear that accredited by National Senior Center badge very proudly. You know, I think it's important to note that. So, next, please. And we just wanted to highlight some of the items that our peer reviewer noted about her visits. She loved our building. We actually did a virtual tour with her. I held the iPad and took her around the entire building. She mentioned that being part of a municipal complex where they had proximity to the library, the food bank, transportation is an absolute plus for our seniors. She remarked about the dedicated staff that we have. She talked about the diversity of membership and programming. She mentioned that our membership packet is well done, and she loved that we have monthly meetings with our members for input and information, which were still being held via Zoom during the pandemic. She also, like I said earlier, mentioned that the adaptation to the pandemic and us doing Zoom classes and our virtual community, she thought that was remarkable, so she wanted to make sure she noted that in our accreditation. The use of grant funding to expand programming and services. I am a big believer in grants. I think it's important to go out and get them, and they are very useful, so I think that that is a great thing to do. Before I go to the next slide, you could leave it up, Gabby, it's okay. I did want to bring you just a little bit of statistics, just to kind of give you an idea. This past year, in 2020 alone, so if you think we were only in operation fully for 2.5 months of 2020, and the rest of the year was all virtual, we provided 7,682 units of information and assistance, and assisted over 1,300 seniors in Old Bridge. To give you some perspective, that's 66% increase over 2019. So even though we were not open, we actually upped our number of information assistance because the need and help was needed. You know, we wanted to make sure we did that. The other number that was also for us big, and this is something, like I said, I will continue doing past virtual programming, is mental health. We assisted 185 individuals with any kind of mental health service and provided 452 service units. That's a 52% increase over 2019. So clearly, information assistance and mental health are 2 things that really, you know, our members needed this past year. And I know centers who unfortunately have closed their doors and have not been able to provide what we have been able to do here for 14 months. But I think these numbers really show that what we have done is important. It's essential. I know people think, oh, senior center are essential, but I think the proof is in the numbers. So, and then finally, so had this been a normal meeting, our seniors probably would have packed this courtroom. And a couple weeks ago, we asked our members to provide us with some information, what their thoughts and what silver linings means to them. So I'd like for Matt to read one, if you'd like.
So I'll read one from John F. John F. is somebody that does not really have much technology at home. Basically, he said, silver linings is a pure joy. It is caring, friendships, educational, and in so many times our way of a new normal. We are also family, not by blood, but by being connected to one another. The staff calls up and asks if I'm okay because I have not posted for a few days, or they know someone who has been sick and calls just to say hi. That's family. Silver linings may be something different to each of us. I am just thankful that we have it in our lives.
The other comment I'd like to also mention is from Jenny A. And Jenny just turned 90 this past month. And Jenny is fully active on Facebook, fully active on Zoom, and takes all of our classes. And she wrote, so glad I had silver linings during lockdown. Love sharing the stories of our group. Everyone has a story, kind of like being one big happy family. I would say, I think it was supposed to say, it is very well run. Silver linings gets an A+ from me. So Jenny is definitely one of our, one of our members that this was a big thing for her, so. And then, next, please. And then just before I go to the next one, you'll see the little picture to the bottom right. We also had been doing for the last 5 years, so a little bit longer than that actually, going to Madison Park and different schools and reading for Read Across America. Well, obviously we couldn't do that this year, so we did what we called Read Across Old Bridge. And our members got onto Zoom. I recorded them via Zoom. They read a book, and then we shared the book with our friends at the different schools. It was really a hit, and it was a great way for them to still get to do this project that they love to do every year, but we did it all virtually.
And we'll read just 2 more comments, and then we'll be done. One was from Evelyn. When the center had closed last year, I felt like I lost my home. Silver linings was the reason to get up in the morning and be with my friends. Thanks to Anna and the staff for the different projects, I feel like I'm in the center. I truly believe Anna doesn't sleep at night because she's always thinking of us. Nancy and the drivers are caring people, and Nancy makes sure I am safe and taking care of myself. I love you all, Evelyn D.
And she's actually one of the recipients of our Alexas because she lives alone, and she also turned 90 this past year. So this, you know, she's one of our members for a long time. And finally, the last one, I just would like to offer a comment from our friend Betty C., who said, I am truly grateful to be a member of Silver Linings. When I first joined, I was welcomed with open arms by Anna and the wonderful staff, along with all the members. I love seeing the diversity and how everyone is treated with kindness and respect. We are also blessed to be offered enriching activities and to be part of a loving community. Thank you for continuing to be part of our lives. And Silver Linings Family Strong is the hashtag that they created. This is the hashtag that they have used for the last 14 months on our Facebook page, and I think it kind of says it all. We are excited to hopefully start, we just started outdoor programming with them this past week. We started pickleball with them today, and that was a hit. So we are doing outdoor sketch classes, outdoor exercise classes, and outdoor programs with them, and we are excited to continue that this summer and hopefully reopen our doors at some point as well. You know, if you would like to visit our page, you're welcome to do so. Our Facebook page, you could also visit our website. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I took up your time this evening.
So much, Anna, for all you've done. Matt, thank you.
And one last thing to all of our seniors at home, if you're watching, we will continue to make you guys proud.
Thank you so much. Our seniors are such an important part of this community, and to know that you're so loved, the seniors, that's very special. I don't think every community has that feeling, and it's just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
really.
you.
Council
Thank you.
Do you have any
President,
questions?
if I may,
Yes.
Mayor and I want to do special thanks to Anna. When nobody was coming forward for vaccination program, and we had, Mayor and I were on call with state, county officials. In one phone call, Hackensack Meridian came forward and offered 50 shots a week that time. And we were thinking about who should we appoint now from Township to coordinate that. And I turned to Anna. And Anna came forward, volunteered, and she handled that job tremendously. And I think we had and I think it's in my report, over 500 people we were helped to vaccinate. Now vaccine is very easily available. But remember, a few months back, it was a gold mine. It was scarce availability. People were looking for it, couldn't get help. Between Hackensack Meridian and Anna's efforts, we were so successful. A lot of people were able to get a vaccine. So we want a special thanks to Anna for her efforts.
Thank you. Any questions or any? No.
I'd just like to make a comment.
yep.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm stoked. I think it's great. I just turned 61, and I remember just before the pandemic, I wanted to join.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it really tells that you guys care about it, you know, and it just shows, and especially the comments, you know, how everybody feels it's a family. It's wonderful, Anna. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment. I just want to thank you, Anna, for all your work. It's wonderful because the seniors are so vulnerable during this time, and you're doing a great job, and I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say that the senior center is such an integral part of this community, and you've made it so vibrant and so welcoming. Even before the pandemic, I would love visiting there. It was really hopping all the time. Activities. I love going to the concerts there, the art exhibits, and I said, wow, they are nonstop doing new things all the time. So your commitment and dedication, really, I got to commend you.
Thank you.
It's A+.
Thank you.
Know, beyond. And the people there are so welcoming when we come to visit.
Yep.
You know, they want us to be part of it and show us what they're doing. And it's so important for them to have interaction between, different people, and they feel very safe there and secure. And just they made that hashtag appropriate. It's
Yep.
family. And to see the diversity there and all the things that you have to offer, it's not stagnant. There's always something new. So really, that involves a lot of work, and I truly appreciate it from my heart.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
John?
Yes, I'd just like to say I joined like 3 years ago or something, and I haven't been there in a while because it's been closed, but I just want to say it was great. I'd go there, and they want to show me everything. It's like, I got to go see every piece of, I got to play a game with that stuff. I think I'm like too old to hang out with them. I couldn't keep up with them. But it's a hell of a job you're doing over there. I just want to thank you.
Thank you. They're very proud of their center, so that's, they have to show it off. So, thank you.
Anyone else for a comment? Everybody
Thank
good?
you.
Well, once again, thank you so much for both of you for coming.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, it's one more proclamation. Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening again, Mayor.
Thank you, Council, and good evening again. It was with great pride that I sat there and listened to that presentation. We should all be very proud of what has occurred here in Old Bridge over the last year and a half. And it's with deep sadness that we all know that COVID-19 has had the largest impact has been on the senior population. And I can say with great confidence as I stand here tonight, I believe Anna and her team has saved lives. That because of the programs that they came up with, I believe there are more people alive today that would have not been without it. So it's a great honor that I read the proclamation that I have here. Old Bridge Township includes senior citizens over the age of 60. Old Bridge Township is committed to valuing all individuals and recognizing their ongoing life achievements. The older adults in Old Bridge Township play an important role by continuing to contribute experience, knowledge, wisdom, and accomplishments. Our older adults are active community members involved in volunteering, mentorships, arts and culture, and civic engagement. Recognizing the success of community elders encourages their ongoing participation and further accomplishments. Our community can provide opportunities to allow older citizens to continue to flourish by emphasizing the importance of elders and their leadership by publicly recognizing their continued achievements, presenting opportunities for older Americans to share their wisdom, experience, and skills, recognizing older adults as a valuable asset in strengthening American communities. Now, therefore, I, Owen Henry, Mayor of the Township of Old Bridge, Township Council, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, declare May 2021 to be Older Americans Month. I urge every citizen to take time this month to recognize older adults and people who support them as vital citizens and who greatly appreciate how they contribute to our community. Thank you, Council. Thank you. Anna? What do Anna? Well deserved, Anna. Thank you. Godsend. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's all I have, Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
You never know. Everybody seems to have something. But tonight's proclamations really well deserved.
Yes, absolutely, and the time was well spent because recognition was so important.
Yes.
People are not aware of just how much went on during this time for our seniors. So it's
Challenges that were faced to all the groups that I mentioned tonight was.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Each and every one of them answered the call, as no pun intended.
Above and beyond.
Above and beyond, and Old Bridge is a better place because of all of them. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Thank you all very much. Okay, next will be introduction of Assistant Township Engineer, Frederick Kish.
Thank you, Council President, Council. We searched high and low for an Assistant Township Engineer, and we left no stone unturned. I'm happy to be here tonight to introduce to you Frederick Kish. He is a graduate of NJIT. He has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Civil Engineering. He has a professional engineering license. He has a certificate as a certified municipal engineer. He has oodles of experience, over 25 years in the civil engineering world. He started his career in the private industry, doing work for facility improvement projects and also linear development. He also continued his career having his own company for about 3 years before he joined Monmouth County as a principal engineer in their engineering department. He then led some projects that included roadway infrastructure projects as well as facility projects with Monmouth County. He has since left and has joined us to be the new township assistant engineer. And we put him to the test already. He's got probably about 4 projects on his plate. We're looking to advertise those projects soon and then award in the summer for a late summer start on construction. So he's hit the ground running, and we couldn't be happier. And I just wanted to introduce him to you all because I'm sure he's going to see every one of your faces come through Town Hall. And I want you to become familiar with him, just like I feel like you're comfortable with me, and just have this introduction. So just a few minutes to say welcome.
Thank you. I would like to say that I'm proud to be the newest member of the Old Bridge team, and I'm happy that I was chosen to be the newest member of the Old Bridge team. And I'm pretty sure that I would say in a couple of months I would probably be a very good asset to this team. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'd like to welcome you to our township, and I'm sure you're going to be a big asset. The engineer is one of the best I know, and I just want to say she's going to need help. I mean, there is so much going on, and I'm glad she's looked around because she's going to need a lot of help, and it looks like you might just fit in. Thank you.
Thank you.
For a comment? Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. I'm gonna stick around because we're gonna talk about Cottrell Farms.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, yes, ma'am.
And don't worry, we're fully hazing Fred. We're gonna make him stay till the end of the meeting so he could see all that goes on in a council meeting. So what I have up on the screen tonight is Cottrell Farms, and, you know, the aerial photography that's on there is how I started every steering committee or public meeting presentation. I put the aerial mapping on there so you could see the apple orchards, and tucked in the middle of that tree in the center, you'll see some of the farmhouses and the buildings that are associated with it. This is how we started, and you'll see the cultivated field to the left, right on top of the FPA logo. You'll see County Route 516 that runs along sort of the bottom left to the top right portion. We had a ground-breaking ceremony July of 2020, and that was for the building rehabilitation project. Gabriella, you could change to the next slide. This is actually the revised concept plan, the final concept plan that was presented at that groundbreaking. And then this showed the site improvements that were proposed at that time, along with just some walking trails around the facility. This would be the end result of what we're looking at for the farm. This is actually the overall site plan for the site work that's set to begin. So now, a year later, almost a year later, July would be a year later, we're closing in on the final work for the building rehabilitation. And, you know, we had anticipated probably a 6-month duration. We're a little bit longer than that because we required JCP&L to put a utility pole on County Route 516, and so that they could put a transformer on there to service the park. Unfortunately, we had probably one of the snowier winters I've seen in quite a long time. So JCP&L did get out there middle of April to put that utility pole, and so now I could direct our contractors to then go full force with the electric service. Just know that it's a little bit convoluted in that we have the building rehabilitation contractor doing the sanitary and sewer water connection and the electrical connection, which is not typical. But because we had to bid out the building portion first, he was required then to get a subcontractor to do that work before our site guy could get onto site. And that holdup was due to the State Historic Preservation Office sort of commenting on some of our design features. So I just wanted to show you some of the progress with the building. This is the main farmhouse. And you could see upper left-hand corner is what the photo was before rehabilitation had started. On the lower right-hand corner is an in-progress photo. And you could see we have a new roof on there, new gutters. They had actually scraped all the windows, repainted them. They had taken all the shutters off, refurbished them, put them back up. And those that they couldn't do that with, they replaced fully. There's actually 2 beautiful benches on the front porch underneath the little portico there, and they had taken it off, refurbished, repainted those, repointed some of the stone, did a lot of painting on the trim. Gabriella, you can go to the next slide. This is from the back. I mean, you can't really see very closely where you're sitting, but if you see the upper right-hand corner and how much the siding had deteriorated, I mean, there was vegetation growing off the roof, there were leaks, and so then in the lower right-hand corner, you could see what a nice facelift has occurred on that building. There is the old ramp that they had placed there, but just so you know that there are what archaeological scientists call a locust area. And Gabriella, if you could just go back to just the black and white of the plan. Yep, this one here. You see those red areas, those are locust areas. So the State Historic Preservation Office had stopped us and asked us to do a phase 1 environmental study, which has or includes an archaeological dig. And so when they go out there, these scientists look for any artifacts that date back to historical times. In these locust areas, and that's not an acronym for anything, it just means sort of a segregated unit area, they found some artifacts that they thought were indigenous of the time that the home was built, and they thought it was of value. For us to proceed with the project, we either advanced to a phase 2 environmental assessment or we do not disturb these areas. So we opted to not disturb those areas. In the locust areas, we are actually either building up the grade or we are minimal excavation. So when you look at our plan takes that area into account. If you fast forward, Gabriella, to that picture that we left on with the ramp, so that ramp, when the site guys come on board around middle of May, it'll be eliminated because that area will be built up, because around the house is where that locust area is. So it's not like we're leaving an old ramp in that area, we're just moving past it, waiting for the site guys to finish grade in that area. All new landscaping will be put around the homes as part of that site plan. Next slide. This is just another view so you could see how just cleaning out the vegetation and removing the siding and doing the roofing on there, you know, redoing the windows and the shutters just adds that facelift. Next picture. This is just the other angle. This is actually a sun porch that was built later on onto the house, so it's not believed to be historic because it was done, you know, relatively soon. Like, you know, it wasn't done when the house was originally thought to be built. You go to the next photo. This is the other side of that side view, and we had rebuilt the steps because they had to meet current requirements for building code. Next photo. This is actually the red barn, and this entire presentation, if you go under www.oldbridge/projects, right? So www.oldbridge.com/projects. Under Cottrell Farms, you'll see this presentation, and you can get a closer view of these photos. On the front side, it was actually not bad. The red barn was actually repainted, the molding around the windows were repainted, the front doors, and those details on the doors, the black was repainted as well. On the back side, most of those shingles were actually replaced because they were rotted out. And remember, this building phase had to do with the interior of the main farmhouse, and then the exterior only of what we call the red barn, the CMU garage, and the stone garage. The next is the CMU garage, where we painted the facade, and then we re-roofed the top, we worked on the gutters to replace them, and that's the corn crib next to it, which we painted the same color as that red barn, same material. The next one is the stone garage, and this to me is so dramatic. The pictures don't do it justice. Again, new roofing, also new painting of the trim, new downspouts for the building itself, and then they repointed each of the stone, and then they repainted the doors, and then they repainted the glasses. Actually, sometimes they had to actually replace some of the pieces of the glasses within the door or even the home. They're so fragile. Next photo. Now, on tonight's agenda, you'll see a change order number 2 for Cottrell Farms, and this is basically the basis. What you see is all the way to the right is the farmhouse that we're talking. That's interior and exterior of the building. Originally, when we were doing our plans, we were only, when we were going out for the building, only gonna power the house. In doing so, and knowing that the site guy is right behind us, it's only advantageous to us to power the entire park. When I started discussions with JCP&L on putting that transformer, if we don't show them that we have a very high electrical need or load for the park, we have to pay for that transformer ourselves. Now we enter into a fixed cost agreement, an agreement with JCP&L, where we make a small monetary contribution up front, but over the next 5 years, it actually gets paid back to us. So in doing so, we show a bigger electrical load, and then we service the entire park. That service of the entire park wasn't part of that bid that the contractor had put out. Next slide. So instead of that one line off of Cottrell, we are now on the left screen servicing from the new pole with the transformer. We're feeding everything to the back of that CMU garage to a meter cabinet. and then we'll distribute power to the rest of the buildings and then the rest of the park, because the parking lots will have lights, the walking paths will have decorative lighting. Each of the building interior would need lighting, exterior would need lighting, the Grand Plaza needs lighting, the American flag that we're putting up in the grand entrance will need lighting. So it's only advantageous before we do all the road constructions and stuff like that to do this piece now. So what happens is now we're not only providing conduit just to feed one building, we're providing conduit to feed all the buildings and all the park future electrical needs, and the wiring is done now for the buildings and for the farmhouse. That cost, I think on item C10 on tonight's agenda is, hold on. It's a 10% increase, and that increase, 126,000, thank you, Councilman De Palma. I have my numbering a little bit mixed up tonight. Okay, so it goes for $126,651.52, and that brings us from $1,281,997.38 to $1,408,648.90. Now, this, I would ask that the council look favorably on the consent agenda to increase this. Now, it's just us not doing it in the site, but while I have this electrical guy out here, French and Perillo did the conceptual plan and the site work. EI Associates did the architectural and the building layout. EI Associates electrical engineer in staff reviews everything that comes in for this change order, because remember, I'm not an electrician and I'm not an electrical engineer. There's also a cost escalation now, because I don't know if anybody's doing any home improvements, but you've noticed we're probably 3 to 4 times the amount that you're paying 2 years ago this time, right? So there's a slight escalation because all this wiring and conduit is now costing us about 3 to 4 times the amount it would have cost us. And that's, the supply chain is just not there. So, so what I did was I had our electrical engineer take a look at, make sure that the numbers jive and the numbers are correct. They felt comfortable. We actually negotiated, this price is lower than what they first came in. And then I worked with the contractor on negotiating down the excavation price, because remember, we were doing one trench going to a house with one bucket width, right, a 12-inch, because you're putting one line in. Now we're putting several, probably 3 to 4, 6 inches apart. We're talking 2 bucket loads probably, and a little bit more time, because now you're excavating probably about 4 times the length. So with that, I ask that we look a little favorably on tonight's consent agenda for that change order. So my next steps, I want the building guy out, I want the site guy in. So if you look favorably, I'm going to go back and sit in the audience and type out an email and say, this is authorization to proceed, you were approved at tonight's meeting. So we reviewed the final change order for council approval for tonight's meeting. Issue an authorization for the completion of the electrical work to get the building guy off the property. He still has some water lines to do too as well, but we're in Middlesex County for a road opening permit. Final collections and cleanup of the building rehabilitation. He still has minor work to finish up inside the farmhouse as far as the bathrooms and the closing up all the walls for the electrical, because he can't close up everything unless he knows the electrical is going to work. Park site work, contractor begins May 15. I'm tentatively scheduled. I don't want them to commingle on site. There's, it conflicts with their insurance if one contractor is on site and another one is there. Phase 2 building and site work design work is in 2021. That's phase 2. So the interior of the stone garage, the CMU garage, the inside of the red barn, and then the interior and exterior of the pool house, which we never even talked about, is going to be phase 2. Phase 2 of building and site work, I'm hoping to award in December, but we are now heavily looking for grant applications as far as Green Acres is concerned and Middlesex County is concerned, so that we could get some funds in to fund these next phases. Phase 2 construction, hopefully spring 2022. But remember, this site contractor has a 180 calendar day. He will take from now until the end of the year, basically, to do the site work. So while we're doing that, we're working on the next phase, and then we're working on funding for the next phase. I think the next slide is questions.
Open it up to the council. Anyone for a question? Councilman Murphy?
Yes, do you know what year the original house was built?
When I was in the basement, the etch in the stone was 1941. But when I talked to Richard Grubb and Associates, they're actually putting in the application so that we could be listed on the National Registry and the State Historic Registry, because there's only a SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, opinion memorandum that was issued for the house, that somebody said, we think it should be on. But that's why I had to stop, because there was that opinion. But when I fill out these grant applications, I'm not getting anything back because they said, well, your application is in. Now, Richard Grubb and Associates, who's doing my application, or doing our application, they're kind of at a standstill, because if the state offices aren't open to do their research, they can't get to the next level of that application process.
Right.
We're going to get a status on that. But as far as I see it, 1941, but I do believe there's two sections to the basement.
Right.
And then there's like a crawl space. I believe one section was a little bit earlier than 1941, but I kind of go by the...
It looks like you basically kept the farmhouse, the barn, the original house, basically the same as it was, right?
What we did was even though it was a SHPO opinion, knowing that we wanted to go after a grant application and knowing that we wanted to go and submit an application to make sure that we're registered, we wanted to keep intact the historic, and so we followed state interior guidelines for historic buildings.
Okay.
So we did everything as if it was listed on the registry.
And what are they going to use the main building for?
I mean, at this point, it hasn't been decided. You know, we have to toss around ideas on trying to make the park generate revenue
Right.
to supplement the maintenance, because it will be, when we're built out, a lot to maintain. One of Green Acres restrictions is when you have Green Acres funding, if your property generates income, it needs to be put back into the
Right.
property. Or it could be distributed to other Green Acres property, let's say if it's a moneymaker. But really, the goal is to make it self-sustainable,
Right.
so that, you know, it's not falling apart.
Was there any like historic equipment in the barn or the farms or any, the farmhouse or the barns or anything?
There still is.
I
Inside.
mean, are you going to like fix it up and leave it there and stuff?
There was one that was a tractor. I think I had a conversation one time with one of the guys in our DPW who's very talented at restoring things, and I said, wouldn't it be nice? But we're not at that phase yet. I think that phase of, it's actually protected inside those buildings now, so I leave it there until we could find a new home for it, or a time where we could restore it, yep.
Okay, thank you.
like to-
Excellent job you did there. Really
Oh.
was.
Remember, it's French and Perlow Associates, EI Associates, it's, you know, our engineering department, it's a lot of effort, it's administration backing us
Right, I
up, the mayor.
understand.
It's just,
Everybody
it's not
did a hell
me.
of a job.
But thank you.
Okay. Councilman DePalma, did you have something?
Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, I drive past Cottrell Farms every day bringing my daughter to school, and the transformation from last year when we were standing in front of it and it was half dilapidated to today, it looks like almost like a brand new building. I think it's phenomenal. Hopefully, when it's all said and done, it'll kind of be that jewel in the center of town, right next to Town Hall. And I do agree with you that powering up the entire park, do it now, because if we decide to do it a year from now, that number is not going to be 127,000. That number is going to be like 500,000 because of all the other stuff. So I definitely think, you know, good foresight in getting it done.
Yeah. I wish I could show everybody the interior of the house, but the contractor has everything protected, that everything's covered in brown paper, that there's really nothing to show other than the painted walls and the HVAC that he's, added to the project. But, certainly next go-around, when we have the grand opening, everybody's invited to come see the interior. It's gorgeous.
Anyone else for a comment?
Council President,
Yes.
if I may just add two things. One thing, I think there was a misconception that I read somewhere that we're going to get rid of Apple Orchard. That's not fact. Apple Orchard is going to remain there. And I think there's a plan, while we don't know on every inch of space how we're going to use, but we know Apple Orchard is going to be one of those educational for our school students and other people. It's going to remain there used. The walking trail is going to be a tremendous facility for public, everyone to use. Remember, this is not an active sports complex. It will be open to everyone in town.
And it's also a work in progress, as the phases roll out. So we're all anxious. We have to have a little patience to see things through methodically, and that's where you shine. And, you do. You're very organized. And then, as I said, as it goes along, like Himanshu said too, we are going to evolve, and there will be different things that are going to be coming there. So it's just we know we're on the right track here, the right path, and we're all just very excited for town. We really are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yeah, good job. I happened to be going by there one day, and I noticed the front of the building. It really, really looks great. It was striking. So good job.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Couple of people asked me, is that for sale? No. No, not at all.
We might need a caretaker, but.
Thank you so much, really, for everything. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, thanks very much. Okay. We good? All right. Next will be council appointments. I need a nomination for a tenant appointment, which would be from May 11, 2021 to December 31st, 2023.
I nominate Enid Crespo.
Second.
Okay, nominated by Councilwoman Belli and second by Councilwoman Walker.
Ms. Brown? Ms. Brown?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the person's name. Did we say the person's name?
Yes, the name is Enid Crespo.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, next will be nomination for a homeowner position on the rent board. It would be May 11, 2021 through December 31st, 2023.
I'd like to nominate Vincent Ranieri.
Second.
Okay, Vincent Ranieri was nominated by Mrs. Walker, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, next I need a nomination for a homeowner position on the Rent Stabilization Board, May 11th, 2021 through
nominate-
December 31st, 2021.
I nominate Maddie Tropiano.
Second.
Nominated by Dr. Greenberg Belli, Maddie Tropiano, second by Councilwoman Walker.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes,
We have 9 ayes.
thank you. Next will be approval of minutes of previous meetings, combined council meeting of January 19th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Walker, second by Councilman De Palma.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Abstain.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes and 1 abstention.
Next is executive session minutes of January 19th, 2021. Do I have
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker,
Second.
second by Mr. Piscitty.
Ms. Brown?
Abstain.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Abstain.
Was that abstain?
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall it, and I don't
Okay.
want to vote on it in case I wasn't there.
Okay. Mr. Murphy?
I'm going to abstain too. I wasn't here.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 6 ayes and 3 abstentions.
Council combined meeting minutes of January 26, 2021.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Piscitty, second by, Mr. Murphy, I'm sorry. Moved by Mr. Murphy, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Piscitty?
Abstain.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 8 ayes and 1 abstain.
All right, thank you. Next is the bill listing. Mrs. Walker?
Accounts payable, May 11, 2021, $18,329,284.73.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Murphy.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Payroll, April 16, 2021, $858,093.26.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Murphy, second by Mr. Piscitty.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin? Mr.
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Payroll overtime, April 16, 2021, $30,760.48.
Move it.
Move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Piscitty, second by Mr. Murphy. And Mr. Shaw, may we have a breakdown, please?
Thank you, Council President. As Councilwoman Walker indicated, the total overtime for this pay period was $30,760.48. There was no really uptick in any other department for that pay period. For the sworn officers, the total overtime was $22,364.36. Deduct grant, $3,484.40. Deduct ETO, $1,981.62. The net overtime was $16,898.32, representing 268.50 man and women hours. Pandemic cost during this pay period was $2,137.89. No special event, no IOD, injured on duty. There were 2 officers quarantined during this pay period.
Okay.
Move it.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Already moved in second.
Yeah, it was moved and seconded, thank you. And we'll take roll call in 1 minute.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor? We have 9 ayes.
Payroll, April 30, 2021, $873,545.35.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Piscitty, second by Mr. Murphy.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Payroll overtime, April 30th, 2021, $41,863.59.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Murphy, second by Mr. Piscitty.
Council President, for this pay period, the total overtime as indicated by Councilwoman Walker, $41,863.59. In arena, there was a hockey tryout, and that was the only uptick in other department. And police department, total sworn officers overtime was $28,701.60. Deduct grants, $1,913.06. Deduct ETO time, $462.45. Deduct accreditation-related costs, $4,061.57. Net overtime was $22,264.52, representing 309 men and women hours. Pandemic cost was $2,098.69. There was no special events. There was no injured on duty. There was one officer quarantined during this pay period.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
That concludes the bill list.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilwoman Walker. Okay.
This next matter was not referred to the planning board, so the matter has to be tabled for tonight and will be relisted at the next meeting.
Okay, so do I have a,
I need a motion to table.
Motion to table.
okay, Mr. Rizzoli made the
Second.
motion. Dr. Greenberg Belli second the table.
Ms. Brown?
Can you just say out loud what that motion is, or I'm sorry, rather what the issue is that needs to be tabled?
It was not referred, it should have been referred to the planning board before the second hearing.
Title of
Right,
the ordinance.
yep.
What was it? I'm sorry.
It's H1, an ordinance of the Township of Old Bridge amending Chapter 250 of the Code of the Township of Old Bridge, entitled Old Bridge Township Land Development Ordinance by amending Chapter 250-38.1, entitled Economic Development Opportunity District Zoning and Design Standards.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm toggling between two different screens. Thank you.
Ms.
Oh.
Brown, can I have a vote?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes to table.
Thank you. 9 ayes.
Next will be our consent agenda item. I'd like to ask for a motion to move it up in a second, and then we'll go for separations by council members.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli, and now separations.
Ms. Brown, do you have any separations?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Mr. De Palma?
C10 and C24.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
14, 15, and 16.
Mr. Merwin?
C2, C26, and that's it.
And that's it. Mr. Murphy?
No, thank you.
Mr. Piscitty?
No separations.
Mr. Rizzoli?
C1.
Okay, wait.
Is that all?
Is that it, Mr. Rizzoli?
Just the one? Okay, thank you. Ms. Walker?
C16.
President Sohor?
No, I have no separations, thank you.
Ms. Brown?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Mr. Merwin?
Yeah.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
It's 9 ayes.
Next will be C1. Mr. Rizzoli?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight this, that our police department is participating in the with the pedestrian safety grant.
Are you moving it?
Yes,
or?
you can
Okay.
move it.
Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Next is C2. Mr. Merwin.
Yes, see, we're getting a grant from the county for the municipal alliance. What is that money used for? Can the administration tell me?
It's the administration of the Municipal Alliance Program for Drug and Alcoholism Education. Primarily, the coordinator works with the Police Department and Board of Education for the educations of the effect of those in our school, and hopefully those training helps them prevent those effect in the future. Now, we have in some cases held some seminars, invited special guests on speaking about that on other occasions. So, but that's the purpose. It oversees, the guidance comes from the county, and we have to follow those guidelines. And then reports are submitted to the county for approval of payments.
But that's what is this for payroll or is this for the program?
It's a staffing cost, as well as some of materials and supplies and other things that they need, both.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, I'll move it.
Okay, so it's moved
Second.
by Mr. Merwin, second by Mr. Murphy.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Next is C10. Mr. De Palma.
I just separated this since we just talked about it for Cottrell Farms. So Ms. Shapiro can send that email once we vote on it. If no one has anything, I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman De Palma, second by Councilman Rizzoli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes, most definitely.
9 ayes.
Okay, C14. Dr. Greenberg Belli.
I apologize. When I read the agenda over the weekend, I made my notes, but I wanted to separate. The numbers have changed now, so you can just go. I'll make a motion to pass them, and I'll just speak on what I
Second.
wanted to say later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so you made a motion for C14? Okay. Second by
Second.
Mr. Piscitty.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 ayes.
Okay. C15?
Thing.
Okay,
Thank
she
you.
made a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Mrs. Walker made a second. Okay.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yeah, this is for what, 16?
No,
15.
15.
15, okay. Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, next is C16. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I just want everyone to know this is for the approval of the pickleball-only courts. There'll be 2 pickleball-only courts at Menino Park. Right now, we've been using the municipal courts here. The tennis courts are converted, and it's getting very busy. I was over there today at noon. There were like 20 people playing. It was very crowded. I see a lot of young people coming out now to play, and it's growing. And we have room for expansion up to 6 courts. And Matt said they should be done by the summer, right? And I think we might need the 6 courts because it is becoming extremely popular.
So anyone else for a
Even if
comment?
Gino
or
has
we're
to
good?
go and dig up everything himself,
Hey,
he'll
digging up-
finish it.
Okay, so you
Thinking about that pickleball.
you made a motion, Deb?
Oh, make a motion.
Okay, so motion was made by Councilwoman Walker and second by Dr. Greenberg. Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma, sorry.
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma, Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes for pickleball.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes, very good. Congratulations. Pickleball. Here we go. Very good. Okay, C-24, Mr. De Palma.
Yes. Mr. Shaw, I just wanted clarification on this. So is this an agreement between us and Middlesex County to clean up the county roads?
Yes, it will allow our staff, to be able to do the cleanup on the county road, and the county will reimburse. And I believe it's up to $10,000, Kyle? Yeah. So we're going to get reimbursed for any cleanup work that we perform.
Okay, excellent. So like Route 516?
The 516, obviously, but there are other county roads. Marlboro, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. If you
Anyone
don't have
else?
anything, I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. De Palma, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes, I have a resident on 516, Mr. Lauer. He's going to be very happy about this. He emails me with all the information about what's going on there in 516 and the litter, so I know it's going to be something he's going to be very happy to see. Thank you.
Sorry.
Next,
getting ahead of myself on
C26
reading.
is Mr. Merwin.
Yeah, this is a little disturbing, is that we did work at 972 Mattawan Road in Old Bridge, and I guess evidently it wound up into a lawsuit. Now, does this mean that our vacant property ordinance really is unenforceable, or?
No, this is a little bit, it's a little complicated, but what happened is that the lien holder, the PC7 Rio LLC is a lien holder.
Right.
Who purchased the tax lien, proceeded in foreclosure, and I think that our lien for the maintenance was submitted or was given afterwards. He got the foreclosure, and so he then challenged the validity of the lien. So all of our work and what we're doing with the maintenance, it has no effect on it. It's just a timing issue.
Well, that would seem to be a problem. If it are these things that possibly, as soon as we do the work, that it has to be.
Well, generally,
we have to-
foreclosure proceeding doesn't go as fast as in this one. We're all surprised that his foreclosure process went a lot faster than approval and finalization, a lot faster than normally happens. Meanwhile, the property wasn't cleaned up. We had done work, and we tried to put the lien, and we have to go through the process before we can put the lien. We got to get all of those records put together, get a council resolution approving, and then submitting it.
Yeah,
This is, I think, the only one that I know that we had challenge from a lien holder. And it's just basically money was sitting in escrow by the bank, and then this will release his escrow funds to him.
Yeah, my concern is.
But we are at loss, yes.
But I'm not.
Mr. Merwin, if I can, maybe I can help clarify for you. There were timeframes that were not followed by code enforcement initially, and that's what triggered it. And so it was a technicality that, and they filed the lawsuit. So there's a portion of that which is the lien that was placed on it, and I believe at closing they had to escrow the money, or they wouldn't have been able to close. There was a sale of the property, and there was an issue as to whether the property was vacant or not, because it was actively listed. And so there were kind of two time frames that were not followed by department personnel. They have been counseled on it, and so we should not run into this. As soon as we found out, Mr. Roselli was in touch with the attorney and basically stopped it short before things got out of control with fees, because we certainly would have lost that lawsuit. It was a technicality, but he was right.
We do a lot today.
Right.
And they sell the property tomorrow. Are we going to be again on the hook, or?
So there's a 10-day waiting period before you can file it, and then the issue becomes whether it's vacant or not, if it's actively listed. So I know that Mr. Roselli has spoken to our department personnel, and my understanding is that we should be fine in the future.
Okay.
All right?
If nobody else has any questions, I'll move it.
Thank you.
Okay, moved by Councilman Merwin, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, next ordinance is for first reading, FR1, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Old Bridge, specifically 250-40 of the Land Use Development Code of the Township of Old Bridge, entitled Permitted Usage. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Rizzoli and seconded by Mr. Murphy.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes, with a question to the attorney. Does this have to be referred to the planning board also? So that we don't have the same thing? Isn't it the same kind of thing?
No.
No? Okay.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
FR2, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Old Bridge, specifically 250-42 of the Land Development Code of the Township of Old Bridge, entitled Prohibited Uses. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Merwin, second by Councilman Rizzoli.
Ms. Brown?
Just real quick, that was for F1, right?
This is for F2.
F2. Okay, I was going to say you said prohibited and it was permitted for F1. Okay.
Yes.
The answer is yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Zohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay. Now, report of the Township Clerk.
I do actually have one tonight.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind everyone, our primary election is June 8th. There will be changes to our polling locations. Once those polling locations are confirmed, they will be posted on our township website, and letters will be sent to any registered voter who has had to change their polling location. As always, please contact the clerk's office if you have any questions, and please remember the deadline to register to vote is May 18th. That's my report.
Okay, I'll take a motion to accept the clerk's report.
I have a question.
Second.
You're moving it, Mr. Piscitty, or you have a comment?
Oh, can we comment after we move it?
Yes, please. Okay,
I'll
so
move
you
it.
moved it? Okay,
Yeah.
second by Councilman Rizzoli. I guess the roll call, and then he wants to make a quick comment.
Ms. Brown?
Yeah, I have a comment as well. So should I just accept it or just make the comment now?
I would just, let's accept it, and then we can comment.
Ms. Brown?
Okay. Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Okay, so comments, Mr. Pescetti, and then Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, my question, since I'm the Republican poll worker coordinator for Old Bridge, and if there's anybody out there that wants to be a poll worker, please send me an email. We have openings. But you sent me a list last week of all the polling locations. I thought that was
I had mentioned
settled.
it in my email that there was a possible amendment, and there will be, it seems that there is going to be an amendment to that, so it hasn't been approved by the commissioners yet, so we haven't released the new amendment.
What's up for question?
Another location closing.
Can you tell me which one that is?
Until it's discussed with the commissioners, I really would rather not
Well,
make.
it's up for discussion, so.
I'm sorry?
It's just up for discussion, so what I'm saying is that it's only one polling location, and it is in question. I would like to know which one it is. And I understand it's only possible. It's not absolute, but I would like to know, because I'm the coordinator and I'm allocating people to locations.
I just don't know that it would be appropriate to discuss it when it hasn't been decided.
We are discussing it. We had just voted on it,
I'm sorry?
right? We just voted on it. We're
We
discussing
just
it.
voted on her report.
It's just you voted on a report, not a determination of the locations.
I mean,
So
what's the
who
big
determines-
secret? I mean, come on, it's just a polling
Not that
location.
it's a secret, it's just if I make an announcement, we don't have all the information.
Not
it
making an
feels-
announcement. You're just letting me know what the questionable.
Well,
Well, she's got to.
perhaps she can look into it later, after the meeting.
It's not up
Probably
for,
that one.
it's not up for determination, it's the commissioners who make the decision. I'd happily discuss it with you after the meeting, but making a public statement
Okay,
regarding
so
this is not.
can you tell me how it came to be that that polling location is up for question?
It's a private location,
It's privately owned.
yes.
Okay. So it's a privately owned, so
Right.
that means it doesn't matter. No.
Okay. So if you have any other questions for Gabby, you can ask them after the meeting, and maybe, she can give you a little more information. But I think at this point, she's,
Oh, yeah, Adina did.
yeah,
have
yes,
a
and now we're going to
Yeah.
ask Ms. Brown for her comments too. Councilwoman Brown?
Yes, hi. I just was curious why we went out of order on the agenda. That's all. Answer? No answer?
I'm trying to understand the question. Out of order in what sense?
Well, the agenda that I see, it has that we were going to do the administrative reports after the discussion.
I'm sorry, Adina, we didn't send out a final email normally that we sometimes do. There was a final agenda printed in front of everyone, because there were a number of changes from even yesterday to today.
Oh, so that's the one that's there in person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
It's also
traditionally,
the one that's available on Novus to the public to view at this point.
Okay. I'm looking at the one that I looked at over. Thank you. Okay.
okay, all right. Anyone else? Okay, so next is report of the attorney.
Yes, Council President, I just want to clarify something. I think I misspoke. The first readings will be sent over for review. Mr. Merwin's question.
Oh, okay. All right, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Next will be our administrative report, Mr. Shah.
Thank you, Council President. Administrative report for May 11, 2021. Item number 1, COVID-19 testing. Old Bridge Township and the Old Bridge Board of Education is no longer continuing to sponsor COVID-19 testing at the high school as of Saturday, May 8th. The reason is that there is very low turnout now. We may have 5 or 7 people the most, and we have another location. I'm going to talk about that. But at this point, I'd like to thank Synergy Lab, Board of Education, and our OEM staff for their support in having this testing in place. So I want to thank all of them. Purity Diagnostic Laboratory located at the 72B New Jersey 34 It's at the corner of Spring Hill Road and 34, conducting testing every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Residents are urged to call and make an appointment at 732-952-3398. They're also offering free testing to residents without health insurance. Item number 2, Hackensack Meridian Raritan Bay Medical Center. The Hackensack Meridian Raritan Bay Medical Center is now accepting walk-in and pre-registered COVID-19 vaccination appointments. Anyone wish to get vaccinated can visit the center Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. For more information or pre-register, visit hackensackmeridianhealth.org/COVID-19. With their assistance, we were able to help over 500 residents with getting their vaccine over the last 2 months. We would like to thank Hackensack Meridian for their continued support and partnership. I also like to thank Obi Temps and Lisa O'Brien for their efforts in helping vaccination program. Item number 3, Middlesex County Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The County of Middlesex has established Middlesex County Emergency Rental Assistance Program to assist renter households that are being on rent and or payment for utilities such as gas, electric, and water. The county has received $25 million in federal funding, which will be distributed to approved applicants on a priority basis. For more information or to complete an application, please visit Middlesex County, nj.gov/rental assistant. 4, Civic Center Amphitheater retaining wall and stair wall replacement. On May 6, bids were received and opened and read in public for the Civic Center Amphitheater retaining wall and stair wall replacement contract number 2021-36. Construction include the removal and replacement of existing southern retaining wall and stair system, the amphitheater tiered modular block seating wall, and new concrete sidewalk around the retaining wall. While award was on this contract was supposed to be included tonight because of the required legal step for rejecting, approving the vendor's withdrawal, we'll bring that forward at the next council meeting. Item number 5, spring leaf collection. The final round of spring leaf collection will begin the week of May 17 in all wards. Please have your paper leaf bags placed at the curbs by 7 a.m. Monday morning and kept outside all week. Email the recycling department with any question at recycling@oldbridge.com. Please note the recycling center will be closed on Saturday, May 29. For Memorial Day weekend, the center will reopen Tuesday, June 2nd from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Item number 6, Hazardous Waste Day. Household Hazardous Waste Day is Sunday, June 27th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. For a full list of what item can be brought here, please visit oldbridge.com/recycling. Item number 7, Construction Code offices will be moving into Silver Lining Building on May 17 temporarily. Construction office renovation will commence sometimes on May 24th. Signage will be placed for the public to find the temporary location for our drop box. Item number 8, Parks and Recreation is happy to announce that they will be running 5 weeks outdoor summer fun camp from July 6 to August 6. The hours will be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The outdoor sites will be located at the township parks located around the township. Registration opens on May 17 at 6 p.m., but due to CDC requirement, space will be limited. They have a new registration software, so please create an account prior to registration. For more information, visit website at oldbridge.com/recreation or call the office at 732-721-5600 extension 4999. Council President, I'd like to present a really good news about our staff. Old Bridge Township prides itself in recruiting, retaining professional employees to serve the residents of our town. We are excited to announce that 3 community development staff members who have continued their education to master level and are set to graduate this month. Tim Joy is a full-time staff engineer who has been with Township since summer of 2017. Tim is set to graduate from NJIT with a master's degree in civil engineering, concentrating in construction management. Saeed Hagag is an engineering intern who has been with Township since summer of 2020. Saeed is set to graduate from Rutgers University with a master's degree in civil engineering, concentrating in construction management. Sakshi Goyal is a planning intern who has been with the Township since December of 2020. Sakshi is set to receive master's degree in city and regional planning from Rutgers University. I want to congratulate all three staffing in construction office, and I want to thank, obviously, our HR manager, Avril Lamage, is doing a wonderful job finding great candidates, and Nicole Shapiro and all engineering staff.
Very nice. Congratulations.
I also want to cover, Matt and I want to cover one issue that has been, it seems to be somewhat emotional issue, and so I just want to update council and the public that there is some misconceptions that Township before and after day care program is being shut down. No, it's not being shut down.
Thank you so much. We really want to.
The program is currently not. We're not doing that program right now because since last March, school has not been open full time. At some point, the mayor, myself, Matt with the school business administrator, school superintendent. Our thought was at some point to offer before and after daycare at the Silver Lining Center or other location. And so I think that there is some misunderstanding that we had a total green light. Somebody says we had green light from Board of Education or school. No, we didn't have any green light. And Matt will go into detail. And I want to just say that most of the time, a before and after daycare program is run in most school districts is run by Board of Education and school districts. I remember when I started in 1993, Mayor Cannon had implemented this before and after daycare program in connection with the Board of Education members and school superintendent then. And just remember, that program can only work if we have a full cooperation from Board of Education. We cannot, because it's a shared service. I think it's a great program. We have done very good job over the years, but without a shared service agreement and without cooperation from Board of Education, it's not possible. Matt, why don't you go give the detail on what happened during those meetings and why we do not have that active.
So basically, to reiterate what Himanshu said, I want to say it was in the summertime. Last summer, we had that first initial meeting, and that was when we had all known the school had put out their plan, and at that point, it wasn't even 5 days, half days. That's what they just got to about 2 weeks ago. So we were kicking the tires here of where can we look to offer this program to help the families, because we know that it's a need. So we thought of, okay, let's see if we can get our Civic Center licensed as a daycare. Let's see if we can get our Silver Linings, maybe Camp Robin. And when we sat down and when we met with the administration of the schools, some of the concerns were, so right now our before care and after care, when things are up and running, they're at each individual school. So if we were not going to have enough for the 10 or 11 elementary schools, we would, for lack of a better term, be creating contamination at one point in before care. And then if they would be getting on a bus and they would be going to maybe 2 or 3 different schools. And I think that was an issue of when you're talking about pods and contaminations and shutting down classrooms or shutting down grade levels, that was something that, both sides of the table said, that's really not going to work. We did meet a couple months ago with the same members of the Board of Education administration, and at that point, the meetings were moving along positive. And basically what we're looking to do is finalize or work in more detail about our shared service agreement with them, because they kind of get the same questions we get. Obviously, they're the facility owners. We operate the program. We operate the program within their facility. And I think we were in agreement with them of getting a shared service agreement with the amount of years on it, so that everybody knows we're the provider for that program in those schools for that amount of time. We did, right when the pandemic hit, we did get all of our school sites recertified and relicensed. Obviously, inspectors haven't been out because we haven't been in the school, but all of our sites are relicensed. And I think, this is a program that us and the Board of Education need to get together on the same page for the benefit of the 700 plus families that utilize us for either before care, after care, or both. So I'm sure that we're going to have more meetings. Hopefully, I think the plan is, I have kids in district. My hope and my plans is that they are back 5 days a week, full time, in September. So we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we're able to get back in and provide that program when it's safe and when we're allowed.
The issue was, how do we maintain social distancing with the children in these settings? And the second issue was cost associated with the PPE supply, cleaning. And we don't want to burden this program with a high cost, because that, one of the success on that program is that we were able to maintain reasonable cost. So we're looking at all angles. As I said, our goal is to, when the school reopens in September, we should be able to, if permitted to use the facility, we'll be able to start the program in September. In fact, Matt is gearing up in hiring personnel, putting together a plan. We have been continuously monitoring and wants to get this program started.
We know how important that program is for all of our families in town, and I think that's something that us and the Board of Education both are fully aware that is a very needed program for a lot of families. And we are lucky in the fact that we do have it in the schools. I've worked in some towns where it might be run by the YMCA, and then they're getting bused here and bused there. So we're lucky that program is in that school. And that program's only as great as our staff that's out there working. So, hopefully we will be back soon.
Anyone else have a question for Matt or comment? Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
Wasn't the time the issue? In other words, if kids were only not in school, how were you going to manage this? With the parents, were they going to be there all day?
Right.
Before and after is before school and after school.
Right.
So without school, logistically, it would have been nearly impossible to
And
run.
I knew one of the challenges that was concerning us was the children were only going to be in school from 9 until 1. So that at that point, they would be in a classroom type setting. Then if we were going to look to provide, you'd be providing from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock in a not so structured environment. And, we're state licensed, so we needed to be able to provide a snack. That's by law, we need to provide that, and then that's where you're going to eat it and how you're going to eat it. So that was a concern for us. And then the other concern was, if a child comes down with a case in the morning, I guess obviously contact tracing would happen, but who's coming in and doing that cleaning of that facility?
So basically, before, as it did exist previously, before and after care, how many hours before classes in the morning were?
So we would start, I think, in between 7 and 7:30, and that would bring you up until 9 o'clock. Because we were paying for the janitors during that time as part of a shared service agreement. We paid to make sure it was cleaned even before the pandemic, and then we provide that same service. Elementary schools are out around 3:10, 3:15, all the way to 6 p.m.
Okay,
So if you were going to do that, there are half days, like in a regular year. There's a half day before Thanksgiving, a half day before holidays. That's when we're there once in a while from that 1:10 half day mark to 6 o'clock. Speaking with our staff and being there from time to time and hearing, those are our biggest days for behavior issues. You have, kids sitting in an aftercare program for the 4 or 5 hours, and like I said, it's a different setting than a classroom setting. And I'm sure that when we do get back, even under CDC guidelines, we only asked for and received certain rooms. It might be a gym and a couple classrooms. CDC guidelines stay how they are. We're going to need additional classrooms from every school based upon our needs. And we think that the need for before care and after care will go back up. It might not jump up back 100% in September, depending on whose parents might not be going back to the office until a little bit later time. But we know there's been created new needs of parents who didn't always need before care and after care, who are now going to need it.
So logistically, everything changed, not, due to the pandemic, obviously, but your whole staffing structure was going to change, because hours before you did mainly about 4.5 hours a day, and then it was going to increase, and staffing and
everything would increase, and then obviously we would look to come here for a fee increase. And if you're going to do a fee increase on a program that people are paying a good amount of money for, and you kind of start and stop, because, we did, Dawn will say, we did a whole bunch of refunds last March for people who had paid for full-day summer camp or who were still paying for the months of March and April. And to Himanshu's point, when we brought our fee increase to you guys about 2 or 3 years ago, we were edging it up over till 2024 with our minimum wage. And when we looked at what a group called Champions offers, the same program in Marlboro, when we got to 2024, we would be at what they were charging in 2019. So the program is, obviously parents pay for it, but it's affordable based on what other options are out there. And at that point, you drop your kid off at one school, you pick your kid up at the same school. There's no moving around, so you know where your child is the whole time.
So not only increasing the hours of your staff, to be honest with you, it would be difficult to find staff.
Correct, and your exposure at that time, when everybody was worried about your exposure time, getting your exposure time at that point, people were concerned. I mean, we have staff that ranges from old to young, and there was concerns.
Well, I really appreciate both the business administrator and you clarifying that, because it is very unfortunate when there's a lot of rumors around town. And getting accurate information is always the best way to operate. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Anyone else for a question? Okay, Matt, thank you for taking the time in Himanshu. Very appreciated. I hope everyone out there heard the information.
That'll conclude my report.
And that concludes your report. I would take a motion to accept it.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, moved by, was it Mr. De Palma? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Murphy. Why do I always miss Motion made by Mr. Murphy, second by Mr. Pescetti. I got to make
Ms.
Mr.
Brown?
Murphy sit up here.
Yeah.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
We have 9 ayes.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Okay, next will be our public comment portion.
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. This section is open for any topic or items in our agenda, or for any topic or any items in our agenda. In accordance with NJSA 10-4-12A and the Old Bridge Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. It should be further noted that public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the corresponding department's office during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate time during the public comment portion of our meeting. To make a public comment, please join our Zoom session and raise your hand. Our call-in number is 929-205-6099, and our Zoom ID is 861-2820-7388, and the passcode is 021116. To raise your hand, please press star 9 from your phone, Option or Alt-Y from your Mac or PC, or choose the raise hand option in your phone or computer app. First, I have Krista Fisher. I've allowed you to talk. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Krista Fisher. If it's okay, I wouldn't state my address, but I'm an Old Bridge resident.
Please continue.
Thank you. This is for Councilman Mark Rizzoli. I'm extremely disappointed in you. First, you misappropriated a photograph of mine from a bipartisan rally to show love and support to your colleague, Councilwoman Adina Brown. You used a photo that I had personally taken and used this photo as part of a Republican political advertisement on your political Facebook page, which thank goodness is no longer up and running. You used this photo with no permission from myself or the woman pictured in it. To all the township members who hadn't seen the original unaltered photo, it showed a woman holding a sign saying all bad politicians are elected by good people who do not vote. I truly believe that our town is filled with good people. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, all together, we will do everything in our power to go out and vote you out of office. Sorry you lost your Facebook page as a way to campaign. However, you continue stroking the egos and manipulating the maskless Monday and sitting on the curb as child abuse crowd. If you truly cared for the children of Old Bridge, you could have just picked up the phone and called the Board of Education. It's abundantly clear that you're just playing politics with people's children. On a much happier note, I want to say thank you to all the Old Bridge residents who participated in the toy drive for Robert Wood Johnson. I know that there's beautiful people out there, good people out there, and now we just have to elect them to represent our town. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Next, I have Josh Goldberg. Please state your name and address for the record. I've asked you to unmute.
Josh Goldberg, Glenwood Apartments. Last month, a lawsuit was initiated by Old Bridge Township Council members Mark Rizzoli and Anita Greenberg-Belli, claiming, among other things, that an email that was sent on March 7th of this year has created a toxic and divisive environment on the Old Bridge Town Council. While I agree about the environment in the council chambers, claiming that this didn't already exist long before March 7th is disingenuous. Years worth of town council meetings viewable on YouTube tell a very different story. At the January 26th town council meeting, Councilwoman Anita Greenberg-Belli read a long list of grievances, mostly directed at the Black community and civil rights efforts. Greenberg-Belli condemned the protests against the lynching of George Floyd and far too many others thusly, quote, "Our cities across America have burned and been under siege since May," unquote. Protesters caused, quote, "billions of dollars in damage, commit murder, carnage, and looting. Our cities lie in ruins," unquote. Greenberg-Belli ended with the following threat, quote, if you kick a dog long enough, the dog is going to bite," unquote. Councilman Tony Pasquitti complimented Greenberg-Belli's comments. Pasquitti condemned those who speak out against white supremacy and patriarchy as just trying to divide us so that they can conquer us. After that, Councilman Mark Rizzoli did his best to foment anger against the Old Bridge Board of Education. His words were very incendiary. Rizzoli claimed that he was mostly reading from a letter that was sent to him anonymously. That may be true, but he's the one who chose to read it out loud in a public forum. Rizzoli got his digs in against the governor, the state legislature, the LGBTQIA+ community, and the incarcerated population, a group he dismisses as criminals, even though many haven't even had their day in court yet. Many remain incarcerated because they don't have the money to mount a defense or bail themselves out. Maybe if they were all cops caught on video violently assaulting children, Rizzoli might be able to muster some empathy for them. Mayor Henry, this situation far predates the March 7th email that some would try to misdirect all the attention to. If the town council cannot control themselves, it falls to you as the one person who cannot pass the buck. Mayor Henry, the buck stops with you. Thank you.
Next, I have Hugh Giordano. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Hugh Giordano, 57 Argyle Avenue, Blackwood, New Jersey. Mayor and Council, I come to you today as a representative of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW, Local 152. The UFCW is the official labor union which represents cannabis workers from seed to sale, both medical and adult use. And we are also working with our brothers and sisters in NJ building trades for the retrofit and build out of these facilities, both medical and adult use. We are here, I am here as representative of labor from the AFL-CIO, the building trades, and UFCW to say that we stand opposed to the ordinance which was introduced today for prohibited uses. This is a direct attack on jobs. This is a direct attack on union jobs, which include living wages, healthcare, sick time, vacation time, paternity leave, retirement, and a voice on the job. New Jersey has the best labor laws in the country when it comes to cannabis workers, and Old Bridge is attacking those jobs by passing prohibited use. The retrofit will be done by using building trades, IBEW, carpenters, steam fitters. So it's a direct attack on those trades jobs as well. These are skilled jobs with 4-year plus degrees, horticulture, botany, chemistry, and currently there is pharmacists that work in the medical dispensaries. So these are real careers. I would suggest that you adopt the City of Bayonne's ordinance, which is a conservative ordinance, but is a merit-based ordinance, which means that you can control who comes in and what types of establishments you allow. Standards like environmental, labor, community, security, and other issues, and they have to actually prove they are. This 2018, Old Bridge attacked medical as well. And it's still upsetting as a union representative who represents the working class that the medical side of this is still being attacked by Old Bridge. These are sick and dying people that need this medicine, and making working people have to travel to other places or pay for fees or delivery services is an attack on working class people too. It doesn't make any sense. I know the NJ League of Municipalities is pushing an anti-cannabis opt-out ban. And it doesn't need to be that way. The City of Bayonne took leadership, so can you. At least allow medical. It's beyond me at this point with that. 91% of Americans support it. The polls show it. And that's independent, Republican, and Democrat. So I look forward to it. I hope you table the ordinance that was introduced today and take a look at the Bayonne ordinance and visit Garden State Dispensary. I'll offer you a tour. Seed to Sale Medical Dispensary in Woodbridge.
Mr. Giordano, your 3 minutes has expired. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Debbie Finnegan. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Debbie Finnegan. I live on Thomas Street in Old Bridge.
Please continue.
Okay. Thank you for taking my call. I'm an Old Bridge parent, and I'm also a registered nurse. I feel that it's necessary to express my support for the superintendent and the Board of Ed in their efforts to reduce our children's risks of catching COVID at school. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, as of March 11th, at least 266 children in the United States had died from COVID, though that number only includes data from 43 states. Children with COVID are at risk of multi-system inflammatory syndrome, and we also don't know what the long-term effects are for anyone who gets COVID, including children. On average, COVID is certainly less severe among children compared to adults, but it is an outright lie to say that children don't get COVID or that they don't die from it or suffer serious complications from it. It is absolutely worth the effort to take measures in the schools, such as masks, distancing, and eating outside, because these measures reduce the risk of our kids getting COVID. And we must also remember that children can spread this deadly virus to vulnerable family members, another important reason to prevent it from spreading in schools. Councilman Rizzoli recently made statements on a radio show undermining the public health efforts in our schools. I find Mr. Rizzoli's actions irresponsible and reckless. He is politicizing something that should not be a political topic, and he is doing so to the detriment of our schools and our community. I would suggest that Mr. Rizzoli focus on his own job on the town council and let the Board of Ed do theirs. Thank goodness the Board of Ed is being run by grown-ups and professionals who respect science and data. And I encourage the town council to follow their example. Thank you. Have a good night.
My next caller is identified by phone number 3743. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, this is Alicia Rahacek from Southwood Development, former president from the Madison Township Historical Society. May I comment on the Cottrell Farms, please?
You can make comment on anything for a period of 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. The Cottrell Farm, its historic legacy dates back to the original Obadiah Herbert of what we can consider East Brunswick, was a gift to his daughter and his future son-in-law. It is believed that there was a house present on the site that burned down before 1820. After about 1830, the new house was constructed. Herbert Cottrell Jr., who passed away several years ago, was the last descendant of that family from the 1800s. I appreciate, and I think it's wonderful, all the plans that are going and how everything is moving forward. It's great to see the house looking back to its wonderful splendor that it once was. I have a few questions, and I know that I cannot get them answered at this particular time. One of the questions is for the site plan with the extra digging for the electric lines that are going into the sections where it was deemed to be possible historic substrate. I wanted to know whether or not an archaeologist from the state or from the county or privately would be in attendance when they were digging said trench lines for the electric and telegraph or phone. That's my question. I can take the answer offline, or if someone would like to contact me, the Historical Society knows my number, and I would be willing to talk about this to anybody. Okay? Thank you very much, and great work, everyone, and continue to do great work and make Old Bridge great. Thank you.
Thank you. My next commenter is phone number identified by 5163. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and identify yourself by name and address. Caller 5163, to unmute, you have to press *6. I'm going to lower your hand. If you'd like to re-enter the queue, you're more than welcome to. Next, I have Jamie Van Sciver, sativacross.org. Can you please state your name and address for the council?
Yes, Jamie Van Sciver, Greenwich Avenue, Paulsboro, New Jersey.
Please continue.
I'm asking to table the ordinance banning any cannabis, especially medical. 63.47% of Old Bridge residents that voted in favor of legalization of recreational marijuana. We're not even here to defend your constituents, and you're not listening to them. I'm here to talk to you about medical. There was a couple of quotes in the last meeting that you're having such a problem with opioids in your community. I'd imagine so. People have chronic pain. People are getting things from pharmacies, fentanyl, Oxycontin, Percocet. This is all coming from the pharmacies. This is all while your Narcan count is going up. This is what people are overdosing on. Councilwoman Walker said that she's okay with medical marijuana use, that she just doesn't like dispensaries, that she feels that it could be distributed by pharmacies. And it's this ignorance and these feelings getting in the way of science and facts and listening to your voters. I'm sure voters that wanted recreational use would have empathy for medical patients, for chronically ill, for terminally ill, for fatally ill patients. Like, people have chronic conditions. These conditions are not going away. These are not going to go away in a couple of weeks with elevation in ice and anti-inflammatories. This is hardware on a spine. This is a loss of limb. This is many, many different conditions. These are not going away. This is what we're asking you for. We want these people with chronic conditions to have access to something that they're not going to overdose on and get in the path of your opioid crisis in your community. Are these people supposed to suffer with hundreds of seizures a day and debilitating pain that they probably might go commit suicide over? There's like conditions called suicide disease because it is so painful and they can't deal with it that they literally take their lives. This is what a chronic pain condition is. What do you think these people should be utilizing for these conditions? You have them labeled as the opioid crisis if they go do what you give them access in your community to go do and utilize the pharmaceuticals that you allow. So you're judging them either way. So we're just bad in your eyes. Just trash us, the disabled, the sick, and the dying.
Ms. Scriver, your 3 minutes is up. I do have to end your comment. Thank you. My next is Marina. I've asked you to unmute. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Marina Redmond. I live at 3 Burrell Square, Parley, New Jersey. I am with Sativa Cross. I am also asking you to please table the medical marijuana. I have, I take it for PTSD and for cancer. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, I couldn't get my hands on this beautiful medicine. Within 3 weeks, I lost 50 pounds. I couldn't keep anything down. No pharmaceutical medicine helped me. Nothing. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't eat. In the town of Old Bridge, you have 9 medical doctors that prescribe medical cannabis. Some of them are infectious disease, internal medicine, neurology, anesthetist, general surgeon, physical, medical, and rehabilitation doctor, and another. You have 9. And then in the state of New Jersey, also you have 64 psychiatrists, 2 of them in Middlesex County who prescribe medical marijuana, who are helping people with PTSD. You have 10 pediatric doctors, 1 in Middlesex County. There was a child who had a 25-hour seizure because she could not get her medicine. It was horrible. You have almost 400 CVSs in the state of New Jersey, 280 Walgreens that prescribe all sorts of drugs. and we have hardly any medical dispensaries. And unfortunately, and by banning medical cannabis, you'll be making people in your town suffer, people who are on this drug, people who are on this beautiful medicine, medical cannabis. It helps you eat, it helps you sleep, it helps you it just helped me so much while going through chemo. And I don't know if anyone has ever gone through chemo on the town council, and I hope to God no one has or no one ever will, but it's horrific. Just please table this and rethink it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Lefty Grimes, sativacross.org. Please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. This is Edward Lefty Grimes from sativacross.org. We're a 501c3 in New Jersey advocating for disabled and for cannabis patients. And Marina, they're not going to listen to you. You lost your leg. They don't care that you lost your leg. They don't care that you have cancer. Keep your cancer at home, Marina. They don't want you in in that town. These people are uncompassionate. They don't care about disabled war vets. They don't even care about disabled war vets. They wouldn't even have a council if it wasn't for disabled war vets. You think they would allow for a disabled war vet to get their medicine for PTSD? No. No. You know who treats their vets better than Old Bridge? The Taliban. You know who treats our vets better than Old Bridge? ISIS. That's who treats our vets better. At least they give medicine to the people they catch, our troops when they catch them. Old Bridge is denying the sick and the dying and disabled war vets. Shame on you. Shame on you. I think you have a flag flying in there. You should be ashamed of yourself. Shame. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. Barnegat, Berkeley, Bridgeton, Bridgewater, Brigantine, Callstadt, Chatham, and Clifton, Cranberry, East Rutherford, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Fairhaven, Freehold, Garfield, Hasbrook Heights, Hawthorne, Lavalette, Lodi, Jamesburg, Hazlitt, Mywell. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. And Manville, Mannington, Point Pleasant Beach, Hamilton, Caldwell, Oakland, Dozierport, Ridgewood, Ringwood, Seaside Heights, Seagirt, Shrewsbury, Seacook, Surf City, Spotswood, Upper Freehold, Double Saddle River, Wall, and Wayne. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. In Weehawken, and West Caldwell, West Long Branch, Westwood, Wyckoff, Woodcliff Lake, Palisades Park. There's no wheelchair access in Palisades Park. Oh, no, because you can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. Keep your wheelchairs home, dear. You can't get no weed in Chester, Franklin Lakes, Harding, Midland Park, Mansfield, Old Bridge, Otapan, Ramsey, Denville, Avalon, Parsippany, Pleasantville, Saddlebrook, Brick, and Union City. You
Sir,
can't get
any more comments?
You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here.
Do you have any further
Cancer
comments?
home, dear. You can't get no weed.
Okay.
You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't.
I don't. Council President, I don't have any more raised hands. I do have written comments. Can I have a motion?
Yeah. Motion.
No, not to adjourn. I need to read the public comments, so I just need to end the live comments.
Right, that's it. Just read the comments you have because.
We have one more raised hand. I apologize because we couldn't take a motion. I have a commenter for 8324. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. *8324 to unmute yourself. You do need to press *6.
Hi, my name is Roseanne Andrews.
Thank you.
7209 Falston Circle. A few weeks ago at the last town council meeting, I mentioned for everyone to look back and go over the meetings before, but I also mentioned to go over the whole meeting. It's very convenient to pick out something from a January meeting an answer letter. I suggest you look at the meeting before that, the whole meeting. And I also would like to know if you were as appalled when those riots were going on as the people who were sitting here who have friends and family in some of those cities. And you weren't aware because sometimes you couldn't get through to find out if your family was all right. So when you start making comments about taking stuff out of a meeting, please look at the whole meeting and tell the people you're speaking to watch the whole meeting. And with regards to marijuana, I am the wife of a healthcare worker. I'm the mother of a healthcare worker. I'm the sister of a healthcare worker. And medical marijuana is fine if it is dispensed in a pharmacy. I have family in a state that has allowed this on every corner. They have signs up to buy their weed there. You have the homeless population. I don't want to mention the city because God forbid someone may send someone there. You have a homeless population that I can no longer rent a hotel room near my family so that I could visit with them. So please, if you're going to watch a meeting and you're going to talk about it, talk about the whole meeting, not just the pick and choose of what you want to say. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to ask the council to make a motion to close the public with only, there's one raised hand left, to use that one hand and close the public portion. Okay, moved by Councilman Warren, second by Councilman Pischetti.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg-Belli? Yes. Mr. Merwin? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pischetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
President Sohor?
Yes.
9 ayes. We have one more raised hand, and then we do have 2 comments that were submitted prior that I must read. So our final live comment is by phone number 5163. Please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you can address council.
Nina Joknowitz. Good evening. Nina Joknowitz. I live in Old Bridge. You know my address. I'm calling because I want to remind the council who seems to think that Ms. Debbie Walker, you should know from Ms. Anita Greenberg that marijuana is a Schedule 1, and until it is not, it will never be dispensed by a pharmacy, which is exactly why the state of New Jersey allowed for a vote where more than 60% of Old Bridge residents voted to have a dispensary in town. Now, you may not like it, but we have a crap load of bars, and nobody is dealing alcohol to underage children. The same way they won't, as Mr. Rizzoli keeps talking about, deal drugs to underage children in a dispensary. It is a responsibility of these dispensaries, as everybody knows. The laws are to be followed, and nobody is going to be dispensing drugs to underage children. The town needs to free us as residents to purchase marijuana when needed for treatment, for anxiety, for cancer, for pain, whatever it is. We voted on it. We want it. Stop blocking it.
She disconnected. That's the end of our public comment section for live. I do have 2 public comments that were submitted prior to that I must read. Our first is from Michelle Mann. Good evening, Mayor Henry, Town Council members, and Old Bridge residents. My name is Michelle Mann. I have lived in Old Bridge for 12 years. I was one of the people to help organize the Rally for Unity. First, I would like to voice my continued support for Councilwoman Adina Brown. I would like to yet again express my disappointment at the Town Council members that chose to enter the meeting through the back door rather than face your constituents. Please be reminded that you represent all of Old Bridge. Mayor Henry, I'm going to assume you are already in the building. I wish you would have taken the time to come outside and meet with us. You had an opportunity to show your support for Councilwoman Brown, but chose not to. Additionally, Mayor Henry, I am extremely disappointed with the way you handled the statement from Human Relations Council. The Human Relations Council is made up of Old Bridge residents that you appointed. I believe you and the town council members should take the recommendation seriously. Please require town council members to participate in diversity training seminar. It is an act of good faith. It would similarly demonstrate your willingness to unite our town, not to divide it further. Mark Rizzoli, you embarrass me, our town, and yourself. Your most recent act of shame is photoshopping a photo from the Rally for Unity. Your involvement with the anti-mask conspiracy parent group is also alarming. It is serving only yourself and contributing to the growing division in Old Bridge. Once again, I would like to remind you that you represent all of Old Bridge. Lastly, I am looking forward to town council meetings returning to in-person. Maybe in person our voices will be better heard. Old Bridge Township Council, please do better. Thank you for your time. And the second comment I have is from Matt Morgan. The state released a new vaccination dashboard this week, and I found it very encouraging to see that 46% of Old Bridge's population has received at least one dose, including 58% of adults and 84% of seniors. These are great numbers that I hope only continue to rise. Unfortunately, my councilman, Mark Rizzoli, also updated his website with information on refusing the vaccine and quote-unquote standing up to the tyranny of Big Pharma. This included links to legal assistance for doing so. I am eagerly awaiting a full return to normal. We are so close, and I hope that my town's elected officials will lead us there. It would be helpful if members of council would inform us tonight as to whether they have been vaccinated. I do respect everyone's medical privacy and right to abstain from this question, but hope you, trusted leaders of our community, can set a great example for all Old Bridge residents. Council President, that concludes the comments.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Our discussion items. The first one is local projects submitted by Councilwoman Brown.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. So the first thing I just wanted to mention for everyone is that there will be a food drive on this coming Saturday, May 15th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It will be held at the East Jersey Old Town Village, Johnson Park, at 1050 River Road in Piscataway. It will be a pop-up, drive-through food drive where you can pop your trunk and volunteers will come and remove the donation from your car. And of course, you could do kind of a little tour of the East Jersey Old Town Village. So there is more information on the numerous events that the county will be doing to help with the challenge of food insecurity. So I'd invite everyone to go to the website for Middlesex County. I also wanted to mention there is an American Rescue Plan grant that will be giving Old Bridge specifically over $6 million. It's a flexible use grant, so the money can be used for numerous reasons. The intention of the grant is outlined that it can be used for a school district, also for COVID-19 relief, but it also mentions it could be used to expand broadband internet access. So I hope that the township will consider using the money to do that, especially because we've had a lot of constituents that are dissatisfied with the current broadband and cable options here in Old Bridge right now. I won't name the name of the company, but I'm sure you know that a lot of constituents are really dissatisfied with the cost. So, hopefully we can use this grant to help with expanding broadband here locally in Old Bridge. I also had a thought that with this grant and others like it, that we can consider repurposing some of our empty buildings and shopping centers that are just kind of sitting there vacant and converting them into something like a large farmer's market or another useful venue, perhaps a building that's needed for the township if we need to expand services instead of, building, how about like repurposing it and making it some type of community-centered venue. So that's a good idea for using some of the buildings that we have and repurposing them. And hopefully with all the grants that we get, we can do that. That's pretty much all I had for that particular discussion portion. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments on that item? No? Seeing no hands? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Next will be cultural competency training submitted by Councilwoman Brown.
Okay, as we know, for the past 2.5 years, I've been talking about this. First, I do want to thank the police and the county prosecutor's office. I don't want to leave this meeting without saying that. Since the incident that took place that I will not name, it was considered a hate crime. And so the bias crimes unit at the county prosecutor's office had to take on the investigation. And I just want to say that they were extremely kind, super, super communicative during the entire investigation. They were always so nice. They checked in pretty much almost like every week and just gave me an update. Whether the update is, we don't know anything. They were just very, very kind and very considerate. Going according to everything that's happened, you would think that that's how they would be. So I do appreciate it nonetheless, though. And their hard work helped them achieve the intended goal. And so I think we know what that is. So I also did want to say, though, unfortunately, to this day, not one of the other council members here or any of the government leaders here in Old Bridge have reached out to me and shown any consideration or empathy for what's taken place. To be honest, their words and actions toward me have seemed to become more angry and more dismissive and partial to each other, excluding me from important information, and also trying to silence me during meetings. I think eventually you'll all deal with the repercussions of that. If you decide to be that cruel, but then state that you want unity in the town, you have to really look at your own actions. I think even more discompassionate was how 2 council members decided to blame a then unknown party for creating discord when it was really their own words and actions that have caused division and biased treatment. Again, I've still never received an acknowledgement of how harmful their language has been and how it likely incited a constituent of ours to feel comfortable sending a very angry and racist email. And I'll say this further, to continuously gloss over this very serious issue and other issues like it, and then grandstanding about other things like, continuously patting yourselves on the back about what great things you're doing is very cruel and insensitive, not just to me as your colleague, and everybody sees it. People see this not only in this town and other towns. It's very cruel. It's very insensitive. It looks really bad. Clearly, none of you care. But it also is cruel to constituents that look like me who are seeing that you're not giving any credence to what happened. There's been, again, no apology publicly or privately, but then just some random lawsuit that I don't know is real, that I was never asked to even be a part of, or whether I was okay with that, because it really could have interfered with the prosecutor's investigation. So, I think those kind of actions are the kind of behaviors that fuel unkindness and dismissiveness on a larger level. And as leaders, I want to know, because this is a discussion portion, I really want to hear from all of you. What do you have to say about your behavior? So no one's going to say anything. This is very telling. This is a discussion portion. Am I not being heard? Can people hear? Is my mic on?
Yeah, your mic is on. Yes.
Okay. So this is a discussion portion where we as colleagues are supposed to talk together, and I just expressed that the language has been harmful, it's been cruel and hurtful the way you have dealt with what I've gone through, and no one has anything to say. So seriously, no one's going to say anything. Just to try to make yourself look like a decent person. No one's going to say anything. No attempts at looking like a nice person. Okay, then I will move on. So I will move on to addressing the topic of cultural competency and inclusion training, which I brought up for over 2 years. By the way, your silence, again, is also noted. I get so many emails and messages from people who notice that when I speak, no one says anything. So to continuously say you're not biased, but when other people speak, you answer, you have a comment, you hold a discussion back and forth. And when I speak, you're completely silent. It speaks volumes about who you all are individually and collectively. But either way, I have also received a lot of messages and emails from constituents who I don't even know who they are. They reside throughout the entire town. They are Black, they are white, they are Latin, they are South Asian, and they have all said that they are pretty appalled by the council's unwillingness to do cultural competency training, whether it's mandated or not. And constituents are still saying to me that they really think it's needed. But to the dismay of all of those constituents, and I do apologize, I will no longer make this request because I can see that it's not only gone unheeded. Instead of this being a way for us as leaders to become more understanding of the communities that differ from us personally and culturally, it's simply training. It seems to have become a bone of contention. I realize that we can't force people to show interest in something that they simply will not. I think the adamant unwillingness to educate you guys, yourselves about all these things has been noted by the residents here. And I'm pretty sure it's going to come back in a pretty negative way. I just hope that it's not too bad, but I definitely think that all of your behavior and lack thereof is very, again, it's very telling. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I do think, just in closing, I would admonish the council president to talk to the council members about, just for appearance sake, because again, this is not about me. If you all just want to be indifferent and dismissive, that's fine. But for appearance sake, because we are leaders in this town, just keep in mind your inability to even answer a question that I'm asking. Keep in mind what that looks like to your constituents. Now, if your constituents think that that's okay, that should also tell you something negative, but just think about how that looks. Everyone here who has spoken or, that's on council has had a question or a comment and they've gotten an answer. When I ask a question, no one says anything. It's radio silence. So I'm going to really admonish you, Councilwoman, Council President Sohor, to really speak to the council about this, because it looks really, really bad for our town. And it looks bad to, again, people that are in our constituency who would also like to be heard. We can't just be nice to people that look like us or that have the same message we have. We have to we have to show unity in some way. Whether anybody likes what I personally stand for politically, we can get upset with each other. We can disagree. We've all done that up here, but we need to show respect in public. And I would say in private too. And not answering me when I'm talking is extremely disrespectful.
Adina, I have something to say to you.
Wait, Councilman Murphy, before we have our department head here who would like to speak to this topic, please, if you would, and then we'll open it up to the council. Good evening, Avril. Can you introduce yourself to the public?
Yes. Good evening, council members, mayor, business administrator. My name is Avril Lamage, and I'm the Human Resources Manager for the Township of Old Bridge. Have been here almost 5 years now. And one of the role of our Human Resources Department is for all the educational training and learning development for employees. And since I've been here, we've always done all different types of training, including diversity, anti-harassment, ethics, and all the training I've always sent out to all the council members and invited you to attend if you were available. We usually offer a couple sessions for each one of the trainings to make it more convenient. I know Councilwoman Brown, I know I briefly spoke with you yesterday because I wanted to give you an update, but I know you were in a meeting, so I wasn't able to give you the details, but I do have flyers here that I brought tonight because we do have, since, post, getting, last year we weren't able to have a lot of these trainings because of COVID, but we're starting to do, some of the virtuals, some of the limited number of personnel in person. So for the upcoming training right now that we have is a diversity and cultural sensitivity training that's coming up. We're going to be having a virtual session on May 25th at 7 p.m. And then we will have another session on June 8th at 2 p.m. right here in the courtroom. So I'm going to leave you with flyers here today. And we're going to have additional training, other trainings this year as well that has been planned out. And you'll all be receiving, just as our employees or managers or supervisors, you'll always be receiving a copy of the flyers for the various trainings that we have.
Thank you, Avril. Again, it's not mandated, so I appreciate you giving the information. Like I said, I'm not going to push for it anymore. I appreciate the information. I've taken the training, and I'll probably take the one that you have on May 25th as well. I'm going to look for that information and put it in my calendar. But again, I think our constituents here are looking to hear some concrete evidence that the town council actually cares enough to go to something like that, even if it's not mandated. And that just hasn't been said. There's just been a lot of ignoring, dismissiveness, and grandstanding about other issues. But again, thank you, Avril, for the information provided.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Avril. Does anyone else from the council have a question for Avril? Yes, Mr. De Palma.
Avril, you said the 25th is virtual and then the June one is here.
Yes, the 25th will be virtual at 7 p.m. I kind of looked at what would have been a council meeting night, to hopefully you still had, that was a clear time. So that one would be virtual. So once you email me and the information is on the flyer that I'm going to give you here as I'm done, you can just email me and let me know if you're interested. And then I will send out the Zoom information to you prior to the date of the training.
Thank you very much.
And
Anyone
this is
else?
also being offered to because it's part of our compliance and everything, and it's also offered to our supervisors and managers. And then we also have another one for staff as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for all your help. Anyone else? Any other council member? Dr. Greenberg, Belli?
First of all, I just want to thank you, Avril, for your professionalism and all the things that you have brought to this town and the programs that you've offered and that I get often on email from you. Truly, you've brought programs to the town, the Employee Award Recognition Program, Volunteers Day, and your concern and your responsiveness has been very much appreciated. I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have a comment or a question? Okay, seeing no hands, thank you very much again, Avril, from all of us. We really appreciate all you do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Adina?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I do have some things to say. I have never done anything to get you upset or ever said anything to you. At one meeting, you had said, unless I'm wrong, you had said that all white males are racists. And I kind of felt taken back by that. I care about all the people. I don't care. I treat them all equal. And I feel that you only care about blacks sometimes, and that's how I feel. But I just want to tell you, I've never had a problem with you other than some of the things you had brought up that, to council members and stuff, and that's all I want to say.
Okay, for the record, I want to make sure that it's clear that I never said on record that all white males are racist. If you can find that, please let me know. I've actually never called anyone there racist. I think people felt that I said that, which is probably their own internal guilt, but I've never actually called anyone there racist. You can go through all the emails and literally look, because this has actually been looked at as well with a fine-tooth comb. I've never called anyone racist. I have said that certain language has been that sounds racist, but I certainly never said all white males. I've actually never said anything about white people being racist. My husband is a white male, So all white males are racist. I think that's quite a stretch, but for the record, I want to make sure that we strike that comment because that is a clear untruth. John Murphy, if you're able to look that up where you can find that, that would be great, and send that to me. In other news, again, stating that you think I only care about Black people is a really big reason that you all need cultural competency training. If someone says, and honestly, I am taking care of the constituents in my ward. People email me all the time. As a matter of fact, more non-people of color email me and call me with concerns than people of color. And I answer their calls, I answer their emails in a very short amount of time. So this is kind of a problem that we have here locally and in a lot of communities, which is people think that caring about people that are marginalized means you don't care about white people. And it's just not true. If I care about people of color, I've never said only Black people. I'm talking about, say, South Asian people. I'm talking about people that are from, Latin America and different Latin countries. That just means I care about communities of people that may not be treated the same. And we can go into this whole fake thing about racism isn't real and all this other stuff. But again, those are the insensitive comments that you and other people there make. I don't understand where this whole I care about marginalized community, therefore means I don't care about white people. It is the strangest thing I've ever heard. Why does me caring about anybody that's not white mean I don't also care about white people? Can you answer? I don't even, and I honestly don't even want you to answer it now because it's a long discussion, but I will say you need to ask yourself that question. Why would someone saying, kids who don't have food, I need to give those kids food because all these other kids have food, but these kids just have a little less food. And I'm not saying Black kids have less food. I'm saying when we look at communities that are just marginalized, just treated differently, and we know it's true. We know it's true. The statistics prove it's true. When we care about them, it does not negate that we also care for the other communities, white communities or any other ones. And I find that highly uneducated to even make such a statement or even to think that. It just comes from a lack of self-awareness and probably really, to be honest, from a place of thinking that you're always more important than everyone. Because if you don't think you're more important than everyone, why would you ever think that me taking care of my constituents that are immigrants somehow means that I don't care about my white constituents? That's a very, very sad and uneducated statement that I just wish you did not believe with your level of academia. So either way, I digress. I hope you go read some articles. I'll send you some. It sounds like you need to be educated more. But again, I have now been accused of saying something I didn't say instead of getting any empathy or any type of concern for what I have been through. And it's telling about each of you as individuals. I was just accused of saying something about white people that I never said, but still no one has the wherewithal and the compassion to just say, you know what, I'm sorry that you went through that. And that shows something right there. You tried to.
I understand that. And I may have misunderstood what you said. There's a very good chance I could have misunderstood it. But, that's all I wanted to say. And when you say Black Lives Matter, you're only talking about Black lives.
That's all I have to say.
I don't want to discuss it anymore.
Yeah, I've never said Black Lives Matter ever. You've never heard me say that. So I don't know where you're getting. This is again the silliness that I hear. This is ridiculous. I've never said we are in.
Okay, look, I didn't want to get into an argument. This is why nobody wants to talk to you. I understand it now. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no one was arguing with you. I'm just saying, let's not say things that I didn't say. Let's not put that out there in the ether that I said things I didn't say. I'm certainly not arguing with you, though. Let's be truthful and honest about what actually was said.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next will be council comments. Okay. And this evening, we're gonna try to rotate now the order of council comments so that all members have opportunities to speak at different times. Okay, so this means we'll start with instead of the first person, the second one, and we'll go around each meeting so that everyone has a chance to speak first and everyone has a chance to speak last before the chair. Okay?
Excuse me, for the record, real quick, I just want to also say, because I usually start first for council comments, I just want to say for the record what this also looks like, that all of a sudden we need to change it around so people can comment first instead of doing alphabetical order, which has been done for years. But continue, thank you.
It was a suggestion. You can go for, no, that's fine. Then if we want to maintain, what's the, of the people here, all the council people, do you want to maintain it again with just alphabetically? Or there's been people who have said to me, I'd like once in a while maybe to speak first or speak last. So what is your pleasure? Okay, so anyone else? Okay, so then we'll go alphabetical. Go ahead, Gab.
Ms. Brown, do you have any council comments?
Yes, I just wanted to say, first of all, I hope that all the moms in town had a wonderful Mother's Day. I know it was a bit dreary that day, but there was a little sun in the beginning of the day, so I hope everyone enjoyed it. I also want to acknowledge that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. As some of you may know, I am on the board of trustees for one of the largest grassroots, actually they're not even grassroots anymore, but one of the largest mental health organizations in the nation. Specifically, I'm on the board of trustees for the New Jersey chapter. And so one of the reasons why you do hear me talk a lot about equity and peace and unity and like speaking up for people, even sometimes when it's more in an assertive way, is because I've seen how people are treated because they behave differently or they look differently, whether it's because they have a mental health challenge or a different ability. And so I'm very passionate about it. And sometimes that shows in the way that I'm speaking. But that being said, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the website for NAMI New Jersey, which is NAMI.org, that's spelled N as in Nancy, A as in Adam, M as in Mary, and I as in, I guess, Ian. That website, NAMI.org, has a lot of resources to help people with knowing how to identify mental health related challenges in their loved ones and friends. And also there's resources for people who are currently having mental health challenges. If they're already identified or been diagnosed with something, there's resources for how to deal with that. Maybe if they need a therapist or even something further, like maybe if they need housing. So of course, resources are limited, but feel free to go to that website. And if you have any concerns, please send me an email. I can most of the time direct people to the right organization or program. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Mr. De Palma, do you have any council comments?
Yes, just real quick. So the mayor brought up May is Nurses Month. It's National Police Week as well as EMS Week. Now more than ever, we should be embracing these folks. This past year has been extremely difficult for everybody involved as a first responder. If you see somebody out there that is in those lines of work, just thank them. Thank them for all the work that they've done in the past and in the future. I know that they do appreciate that. And also to second what Councilwoman Brown just said with mental health awareness. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. A lot of people are affected by this. Sometimes those traits and the signs are hard to identify. Keep a lookout for each other. Some of the folks that are suffering from mental health look just like everybody else. They go about their day and there's nothing out of the ordinary. Just make sure that all your friends, neighbors, relatives, they know that you're a helping hand and you're a person that can be spoken to. Sometimes all people need is just a friendly ear. So just try to be that ear for everybody involved. That's it. Thank you.
Dr. Greenberg-Bellet is absent. Mr. Merwin?
Yes. Excuse me. One question to administration. The Civic Center amphitheater retaining wall and a stairwell replacement. We just had a whole lot of work done there. What is this?
I'm sorry, what was that?
on the amphitheater, the retaining wall and stairwell. We just had that replaced, didn't we?
There was one section of the retaining wall was replaced. Now, this is the behind the other side where the walkway is. The main side of the building was replaced. Support was placed, but this is the other side and near the actual entrance to the basement.
All right. Listen, just change subjects here. I have what I think is some great news. It's not 100% yet, but it's pretty damn close to it. Old Bridge will probably be one of the first ones to have a public event this year, and that will be Saltwater Day on August 14th. And I've been in contact with the county. They're on board. The recreation's on board. The mayor's on board. So we're just waiting for the 19th. I think pretty much everything's going to be lifted, and we're going to have a great day on August 14th. We only have the one problem, where the First Aid has funded these fireworks in the past. They're not getting the funding that they used to get, so we're going to have to be looking for outside people to come up with some funds for the fireworks. So we'll go from there. All right? So August 14th, put it in your calendar. It's the second Saturday in August, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Councilman, I just want to be cautionary and make sure everybody understand that if the certain rule change,
right,
that we may not be able to continue that, and we may be subject to social distancing at the event and a mask. So I just want, hopefully not, but I just wanted that to be clearly understood that whatever the rules are,
we will follow those rules, and hopefully everybody, gets their vaccine, and we all will be, pretty well inoculated from it, and we'll go from there. Let's see what they say on the 19th. I think they're going to open up a lot, and I don't think our boardwalk is any different than any other boardwalk in the state, and they haven't shut them down. So, all right, so let's go. Thanks.
Mr. Murphy is absent. Dais. Mr. Piscitty, do you have any comment?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, June 8th is the primary, and we still need poll workers, and I'm the poll worker coordinator for Old Bridge for the Republicans, and we still have a number of spots, so if you want to work the day, it's you get paid $200, and you need to go to a short training class. It's mandatory for everybody. And if you're an undeclared, you can actually declare as a Republican and work it. And if you're a Democrat, you can contact Donna Wilson. Thank you.
Mr. Rizzoli, no comment. Ms. Walker?
Since our next meeting is not going to be till sometime in June, I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe Memorial Day.
President Soher?
Yes, I also would like to tell you, have everybody have a very great holiday. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Merwin?
Thank you.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Ms. Brown? Is absent. Mr. De Palma?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg-Bella is absent. Mr. Merwin? Yes. Mr. Murphy is absent. Mr. Piscitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Ms. Walker? Yes. President Sohor? Yes. We have 6 ayes to adjourn.